Freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
My name is Gianluca Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a dream. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom.
We're not afraid.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on UnitedStates.fm network. You know, I want to use this opportunity, because I call it an opportunity, to be on the air, to do something good. You know, I really believe that if we want to change this political system, we have to become part of the system, okay? And I really invite, and I'm so glad and excited when I see especially young people running for office. I don't care which type of office, a local, state, county, I don't care, even for the school board. It's important. When we understand that, unfortunately, the pros, the people that have been being politicians for years, they have failed us. They have failed us at so many levels. You know, you start to get into that machine of corruption and power, and you become more corrupted. So it's good to change blood. And also very important, you know, I'm here with this radio show, my humble radio show, and my purpose is not to push anybody, but just to give the chance to people who want to run for office to at least be on record. You know, of course, there are two different types of people. People that already been in office, and at that point, I'm going to also give you my opinion about what their promises or what their record is, according to my principles. You know, I mean, everybody's different. I'm not here to be, I have an agenda myself. My agenda is America. My agenda is the sovereignty of this country. My agenda is the Republic. My agenda is the Bill of Rights. My agenda is the Constitution. My agenda that the government doesn't work for us, but, you know, I mean, excuse me, the government work for us, and we do not work for the government. My agenda is freedom. That's where I am. But at the same time, you know, I want to give the opportunity, of course, to people that are running for office as the new people, and new politicians, or new statement in this case, I like the term statement, to at least be on record, and then, of course, we can follow their path if they make it. And more important, you have a chance today as a listener to judge, to have an opportunity to have more information before you go to the voting polls. Now, I want to remind the invitation to everybody. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, so I'm here as an independent, and more important, I'm trying to be just a host. I will ask questions, though, that they are pertinent for me to the principles and the values that I believe that I just told you. So, that's the bottom line. So I'm not here to endorse anybody. I'm not here to put down anybody. All I am here to ask serious questions that I hope maybe are the same questions you listeners pretty much you may have. Now, let's go straight to business. There is a young man that, I like him. You know, when I said before, I see young men, I see the future, because I'm tired of these old politicians that, that they need to go home and retire, in my opinion. They need to give us some space. Because after all, they failed us. So when I see young men like this gentleman that right now I'm going to introduce to you, I have some excitement, but I don't really know anything about him. I want to be honest. So that's why I'm here. But let's see. His name is Paul-Mosley from Lake Havasu, Arizona, and he's running for a state representative position in LD5. Paul, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, first of all, did I pronounce right your name? Did I get it down right? Paul-Mosley, yes. Perfect. And remind us exactly, I already said, you're running for which office and when the election is going to happen?
The primary election is August 30th, and I'm running for Legislative District 5, House of Representatives. So basically the seat that Sonny Borelli is going to vacate as he's running for the Senate, State Senate.
Perfect. Under which party?
I'm a Republican.
Perfect. Okay. Now, before we start, I'm going to ask you some questions. A little bit about, you look like to be like a young man, you're a family man. Tell us briefly, in a couple of minutes, what do you do for living? What is, little bit about you. Normally, I wouldn't care anything about, your personal life because, it's your personal life. But now you're running for office. Anything that we may also, unfortunately, is all connected, What you do in your personal life reflects also who you could be as a public servant. So, to know a little bit about you.
Well, Luca, I have had I've had ancestors that have lived here in the States since the Pilgrims came over on the Mayflower. And I also have an ancestor who was a big advocate of separation of church and state. He was imprisoned in England because he didn't belong to the Church of England for 2 years, and he had to be exiled to America because he didn't want to be a part of the Church of England. So my ancestors came here for the freedom of religion many, many years ago in the 1600s.
Wow.
In Boston, the Plymouth, Massachusetts area. I am married. I graduated from Brigham Young University back in 2006, and my wife and I have 6 children, 1 boy and 5 girls.
Wow.
I believe in the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights. I do own many guns, as I have 5 beautiful daughters, and I believe in the right to free speech, to worship as anybody wants to worship, as long as it doesn't infringe upon other people's, ability to worship.
Okay. Paul, let me ask you a question. First of all, what type of business are you in? You work for a company? You're a business owner? What do you do for a living?
So I actually own my own small business. I'm a franchise owner of Ameriprise Financial. So okay. I'm a certified financial planner.
Wow, interesting. Maybe I may call you after this. Okay. Very good. Listen, now the question is this one. You know that the commitment that you're going to face, you have to. We don't live very close to Phoenix, okay? I mean, Lake Havasu to Phoenix is kind of a trip. You need to start to relocate, or at least to start to move part of the year there in Phoenix. And the paycheck for our public servants in this state is not that good compared to other states. So this is not something you can really replace your income. How can you justify to your family doing this decision that I think it's a noble decision, but at the same time it's also economically, I don't think it's a very good decision when you have to feed all your family, 6 kids and a wife, and you're going to leave behind your business a little bit.
Well, Luca, the wonderful thing about my business is that I have access to my clients via my cell phone and my laptop.
Uh-huh.
And the markets are only really open in the morning. Right now the stock market closes at 1 o'clock. And so most of my business I do in the morning, and I can do business with my clients via Phoenix. I'm licensed in a dozen states. So, I have many clients that are just not just right here in Mojave County, but also in other states like California and Nevada.
Perfect. So you are a financial advisor. So you understand budgets, or at least you understand the idea of saving and free market. That's good. Okay, now let's start first of all. I do basic questions that normally I ask to every candidate or even people, public servant that they're in office. The first question I have for you, what is the role of government for you? I mean, what government really should do? I mean, according to your beliefs and according to your knowledge.
Well, the only reason why we need or why we have government is so that we can keep our freedom. We can keep our liberties. Okay. Government is supposed to just protect those freedoms and those liberties, right?
Uh-huh. And I'm trying
from other countries and from other people infringing upon those liberties. I don't really believe the government should really be much into our health care, really much into, things that they don't need to be. I mean, if we could privatize everything, it would probably be more efficient. I mean, you look at the post office. It's run by the government and they're deep in debt. Anything that the government takes control of, like health care, it just makes it worse, makes it more expensive, makes it harder to work with, So,
okay.
The government really is there to protect us. So I believe that we should have a strong military. And, there are some public services like libraries and fire departments and police officers. To a certain extent, sometimes some of our public officers, infringe upon, our freedoms. But for the most part, they're here and they're doing a good job to protect us and to keep us free.
Okay. Listen, very important thing. You brought up a point I was going to ask you in a little bit, Besides what, of course, the role of government is to defend our rights, also as stated in the Declaration of Independence, that's the way it should be at least. One thing you said, privatization. And I believe in privatization. Probably most of the things the private can do better. But what do you think about the specific thing when it comes down to private prisons, the business of private prison? Do you support private prisons, or you think the government should be something in the correctional system should be part of the government role?
Well, I don't know everything that there is to know about private prisons and private prison systems, but what I do know is that if the government has the prisons, then they're more expensive for the government to run because the government has, to pay their, employees, all this, and they have to pay them all the benefits and things like that. Whereas, if I understand it correctly, the private prison system actually saves the government a lot of money. It's a contract for, say, 20 or 30 years, and the government doesn't have to pay to build the prison. They don't have to, they just pay to a management company or, to manage it, and then, they hire their employees. They give the employees benefits, so the employees don't have, say, state pensions and things like that. And then at the end of the term, like the 20 or 30 years, the prison actually just becomes ownership of the state. So it's a great way for the government to save a lot of money.
Okay. Let me tell you one thing about this one, because maybe we have a little bit of differences of opinion here. You ever heard about Benito Mussolini, the Italian fascist socialist?
I have heard of Mussolini, yes.
Mussolini defined fascism with this very simple phrase, okay? I'm trying to paraphrase on it. Fascism is the union between the state and the corporations, okay? I believe completely that, private can do better many things. But when it comes down to something so important, like, for example, the correctional system, the system that is going to put people in jail and keep them in jail. And you know very well about the powers of the lobbyists, correct? I mean, lobbyists, they are powerful. And, for example, there was a case in Colorado, in the state of Colorado, that these private prisons sued the state because the state could not fill their rooms like an hotel room, okay, with customers. In this case, the customers were the prisoners. So what my really concern is, when it comes down to private prisons, as much as I may understand there may be some saving on the long run, I believe that the danger that we are facing as a free society is going to be that we're going to have a very dangerous situation where lobbies from the private system, I almost call it mafia, because for me they are kind of a mafia when it comes down to what they've been doing, and there are proofs that they've been pushing to have more legislation and more laws to put people in jail that before 20, 30 years ago, they wouldn't be even a misdemeanor. So there is, unfortunately, and also it's been proven by different police, local police agencies, that they need to keep the numbers up. So that's my little perplexion when it comes down to private prison. And there is another aspect also that I think really is kind of scary. The private prison can rent their slaves. I call them slaves, after all. When you work for $1 a day, you are a slave. They can rent them to private businesses. For example, in Golden Valley, we have the private prison that the Golden Valley Fire District here used to have 50% of their force in their contracts. They wanted to have, demanding to have workers for private prisons. So I think that's very sad, because first of all, it's an insult to American workers when you start to hire for $1 a day a prisoner. And more important, there are also some security matters. And I think also there are some ethical matters, because after all, these people, they are criminals, fine. Let's find a way to make them punish, but I don't think we should, a private corporation should profit out of this in this way, especially when it comes down to this idea. This is just my opinion. I mean, you don't need to agree with me, but I want just to give you my rest of the story, so at least you know where I am from when it comes down to private prison. But I hope you can have an open mind to think, are you familiar with the Colorado lawsuit, for the private prison system that sued the state because they didn't have enough customers in their jail, in their prisons?
So I'm not familiar with that specific case, but I mean, I'm definitely open. I definitely have an open mind.
Yeah. Just think about it. My point is try to give you, unfortunately, there's always the other side of the story. Sometimes, there is no perfect solution. And I want just to let you know that. So just think about that in case you make it something to consider. Now, big question. It's the most important question after all. I don't care if you're poor or rich or whatever. We all have one piece of real estate that it's ours. It's our body. And the question is, who owns our body? Us or the government? Or God, if you believe in God?
Well, I mean, everything we have is from God.
Okay. Now, let's say I have a lot of listeners that are Christians, like myself, but also I have some listeners that, they're atheists, or maybe they're Buddhists. They don't believe in God. So, who owns the body? The government or you?
I mean, we have our own freedom and agency of our own bodies. Mm-hmm. So, as long as I, don't use my body to hurt other people, like, if I, kill somebody, then
Perfect.
In essence, I have the freedom to use my body how I want.
Perfect.
Until I abuse that freedom, and then basically the consequence of that abuse could be that I could be put in prison or whatever.
Perfect. I mean, we agree with the principle that we have rights until we do infringe on somebody else's rights. Correct. I mean, for example, right now I'm in my house, in the safety of my house, and I have a bottle of wine, and according to my religion, wine is okay, so I'm drinking wine. And I can get drunk, but I am not endanger anybody else, and we're okay with that. Are we okay with this situation?
Sure.
Perfect. And of course, if I'm drunk, and if I go on the road and I hurt somebody, even if I don't hurt somebody, just because I'm drunk, I should be punished because I may endanger somebody else. So this is a very basic thing. Now, this is not important thing, that normally I don't talk because I am doing it. For example, I go straight to the point. Something a little controversial that I really like, but I think it's important. It's about freedom. Who owns our body? For example, there is a big debate about the marijuana, okay? I don't even smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke anything. I don't like drugs. But I really firmly believe, if we believe in freedom, and that we own our body, and we stick to the principles that we just talked about it, we have rights until we're not dangerous to others. In the privacy of my home, I should not be penalized or criminalized or become a felon if I want to grow a plant of salvia or a plant of basil or a plant of marijuana. If I want to smoke a plant like a couple leaves of marijuana, or if I want to smoke a cigarette or a glass of wine. What do you think? Do you support legalization of marijuana according to this principle that we just said?
So, you're talking about a really touchy situation here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We have a government that really is kind of, takes people from cradle to grave. I mean, we've almost become a socialist society.
We are.
Food stamps and, this, that, and the other, right?
Yes.
So, I think that people should be able to do whatever they want, right, with their bodies. But at the same time, the legalization of marijuana I don't agree with. And the reason why I don't agree with it,
yes,
Luca, is because those individuals, many of them who don't, just smoke a joint of marijuana here or there,
mm-hmm.
right? Who smoke marijuana every day. Some of those same individuals become a burden to society. And so we end up supporting them with our taxpayer dollars. We end up, they end up not holding jobs and things like that. Now, in moderation, if you smoke, a little marijuana here, a little marijuana there, sure, yeah. I mean, that's not going to hurt anybody. You're not going to lose too many brain cells, right? You're going to probably be able to keep your job. But the sad truth of it is that, states like Colorado, where they did legalize marijuana, there's tons of people going to Colorado. They live on the street. They don't have jobs. And they then become a burden to society in Colorado and other states where marijuana has been legalized. If people were a little bit more responsible with it, it's kind of like drinking. You said you have a bottle of wine, you're drinking in your house, no big deal. If you then drive in your car, right, and you're drunk, and you're waving your gun all over the place, right, we would say, oh, something's wrong with that. Well, the problem with people that take, smoke too much marijuana, they eventually become a burden to society because they're late for work and they get fired, or they end up not being able to support themselves, and then the government ends up being able to support them.
I got you. Now, the same principle, this is, free will, God gave us free will. We can decide if we want to be good or we want to be evil. I mean, we want to go to heaven or to hell. And the same way, in our society, we have free will. Forget about marijuana. I can do the same thing. I know a lot of sad stories, probably with alcohol. There are many more stories that, people become alcoholic and they don't have a job anymore, and they are really destructive to their families, and they become violent or they become homeless. So at that point, the role of government should be always to be there and watching over people, because I can get drunk right now with just, with a juice. I can ferment juice and I can become an alcoholic. I think it's kind of a little bit strange, because how can you make distinctions? How much is much? And more important, already now with the alcohol, with the same logic, we should probably forbid the alcohol, because the alcohol is creating much more dramas in families right now. Proven, millions of people, they have alcoholic problem.
Well, Luca, if I can interrupt you,
yes.
Back in the early 1900s, I'm sure prohibition,
yeah.
the laws that the federal government put in place that basically banned and got rid of alcohol. Well, as you know, those laws, they didn't work very well. All they did is create more problems and underground mafias and gangs, and
you make
a lot of people who are distilling their own alcohol.
You're making my point. The same story with drugs. These drugs wars, these drug laws, they don't work because all they're doing now, they're creating more value for the drugs, and they pretty much giving money and great financial gain to all these mafia and to these cartels. And more important, what we do here, we have a very scary connecting to the private jail system cycle. Now, a little kid or young man.
So Luca, here's the problem, though. We have very powerful drugs today. We have very, very powerful drugs.
Paul,
heroin, cocaine. Where do you stop? What do you legalize and what do you not legalize?
Let me start. First of all, I was addressing right now just the marijuana as a plant. Okay, not even a synthetic drug. And I tell you, if I think that a young man or a young woman can have his life or her life ruined, become a felon, just because found in his pocket a couple of leaves of this plant, just because the government said that this plant right now is illegal, like 100 years ago was, or 80 years ago was a bottle of wine, you could become a felon. I think this is sad, because at that point, we can use this logic for everything, alcohol, or we can use logic for next time we become like the new Taliban. After all, in Taliban, decide that alcohol is bad. You cannot have coffee, and of course, you cannot have drugs. So the point is, with freedom comes responsibility, and I don't think, like for the gun issues, I don't believe that the collectivists, should punish the individual. If somebody makes a mistake, if somebody is drunk and driving, he must be punished. But the rest of society should still be allowed to drink in the safety of their home with responsibility and paying the consequences. If I become an alcoholic and I need a liver transplant, I better have the money to pay for my liver transplant, okay? I better have the money to pay for my wine. And same story with the marijuana. And I'm telling you, I hate the marijuana. I can't stand it. The smell gives me nerves. But this is not about the marijuana. It's about the basic principles of freedom and the role of government. And more important, what we were saying before, who owns our body, us or the government? If the government starts to pretty much decide how much is much, we should remove also the alcohol. Because right now we know very well the alcohol is creating a lot of dramas around the world, but doesn't mean that we should be all punished. Anyway, I don't want to focus too much just on this. I got your point, and you got my point, and everybody out there can decide what they think. I know very well that most of the Republican people, they will vote for you. They still think that the government owns our body and our morality. And they can tell us pretty much, how much we can drink, or more important, we cannot smoke a plant. But the sad thing is just one. Think about it. This is going to create a very big...
If we didn't have a cradle-to-grave society, if we didn't have a socialist society, I wouldn't have any problem with anybody growing and smoking marijuana. It wouldn't bother me. I lived in France for 2 years. I speak fluent French. And, I got to see the immorality of the French. I got to see, everybody smoking marijuana and living on the street. And, they have a socialist society. America's going that direction. So, if we want to go that direction, that's fine,
I don't want to go.
Everybody should have freedom to go that direction if they want.
Paul,
the problem is that, in France, people are not more free. They're less free.
Paul, you know very well that I'm against socialism, every inch of my body, every drop of my blood. The point is, though, that we need to understand that we need to be coherent, to be consistent. Because if the government is now my big daddy, for example, I'll give you an example. Something may be stupid, but I think it's very important. When you drive your car, okay, and there is a sign on the highway, put your seatbelt. It's the law, okay? Now, if you have seatbelt or not, do you believe that just because it's a law, we should put a seatbelt on our highways? What do you think?
Well, I think that's, seatbelts are interesting because they actually could allow people to be, worse drivers. They could allow people to, they think that the seatbelt protects them and helps them. And so people, could be more crazy drivers. But, they also protect us when another driver hits us, right? So, if you don't want to wear a safety belt, it's your life, right?
Not really, because Paul, I understand.
Laws, right? We have laws, and so the way that the law is written, we should be law-abiding citizens as they're written currently. And so, I'd wear my seatbelt.
Okay.
For my own safety and because it's the law.
Okay, good. That's a very important question. Now, my point is this, or maybe I sound a little radical, I'm sorry. But the point is, if I go back to the principles, who owns our body? Me or the government? Me, okay? Am I endangering anybody else? No, because I'm in my car, okay? And I'm there. I'm not going to create all this drama to other people, okay? It's not like I'm speeding or doing other things. It is my body. I also understand that the seatbelt can be important. I do. But the idea that just because it's the law where the government claim ownership over my body, because after all, I don't endanger anybody else. And I know very well that the moment that I do not put that belt on, I don't know where that belt, especially in states like California, even here if they pull me over for other reasons, I can be punished. I need to pay a fine. If I don't pay the fine, I will go to jail. I find this very disturbing, in my opinion. This is exactly the principles, that we're supposed to stick for. The point is who owns our body. If we stick to the principle that we said, until we infringe other people's rights, we should be free to do whatever we say, like you said at the beginning. This is exactly the perfect example. Why the state should claim ownership over my body and tell me to jump and put a seatbelt just because they think they have the power. Remember, the law, also slavery, was lawful. There was a Supreme Court case during the slavery time that was okay. I mean, Rosa Parks, she was breaking the law. She was, she wasn't standing up and getting in the back of the truck. Should we always follow the law even when they are against the law of God's? Because after all, really believe that the government doesn't own my body. If somebody's going to own it, it's me or God. But the seat belt, I want you to think about it. I'm not trying to confront you, but just try to have an honest conversation. It's the same principle that we were talking about, drinking a glass of wine in the privacy of my home, or smoking a leaf of marijuana if I do not infringe anybody else's right, and especially if I pay with my own money. And more important,
So what would you do with the laws? Obviously, the seatbelt law would not be a very good example.
It's a good example. It's a perfect example where we are right now. They started that.
So let's say you get pulled over because you're not wearing your seatbelt. You get a fine, right? Okay. And eventually, right? I guess
you don't want to know what I read.
A warrant out for your arrest. They arrest you. They put you.
No. Let me tell you what I did so far, and probably I got lucky one time. Okay. So far, first of all, I always drive like a grandmother. I never get pulled over. Okay. One time I got pulled over on the 40, and the guy was the DPS was very nice. Around here in Arizona, thankfully, they are not like California. They look for other things. Okay, I was going a little too fast. They gave me a warning so that I have incredible. I never got a ticket in 18 years in my life here. I never got a ticket, speeding ticket or anything like that on the highway. So the guy said, it was cool, no problem. And he asked me, why don't you have a seatbelt? And I said, because it's against my religion. And he said, can you articulate a little bit? Yes. Because right now, after all, I'm not infringing anybody else's rights. I'm not endangering anybody else's. And the moment that I put a seatbelt, because the government tells me so, means that I give my ownership of my body to the government. Instead, God is my owner. And the deputy say, have a wonderful day. Maybe the guy thought I was crazy. I don't know. But that was my principle. I stuck to. It was freedom of speech. It was freedom of religion. Okay? I wasn't infringing anybody else's rights. And I was there. I had my insurance. I got everything nice. Car was clear. I don't have drugs on me. I'm a law-abiding person. But you know what? There are some laws, in my opinion, that people should start to think that at least they should start to open and question. I'm not saying breaking the law, but at least start to question. And that's what I did. I questioned.
And I agree to you to a certain extent. I mean, on the books in the state of Arizona and in the federal government, there is thousands of laws. There's no way that you and I could even read all the laws there are. There's no way that we could even follow all the laws that there are. Because there are so many laws that we don't even know about. I drove too fast. Oh, you did this, you did that. I mean, every one of us break the law every day because we're not perfect, right? We're all sinners.
Paul, do you believe in the Obamacare?
I do not like Obamacare. It's made our insurances a lot more expensive and the doctors a lot less expensive.
And also the principles, besides that more expensive, it's a rip-off, we know that, and we cannot even keep the doctor we had. But the principles that the government is forcing you to buy a service against your will. Don't you think that's kind of scary and devilish?
Or they fine you.
Yes. So it's like, that's slavery. And now think about that and compare it to the seatbelt. The seatbelt is the same principle. They started always slowly, to creep their foot between the door, okay? They're doing the same thing. They're forcing us, the federal government, and of course also the states, because it's the law, that they claim ownership of your body, so you must buy a seatbelt and you must wear the seatbelt, even if you are not infringing on anybody else's rights, because they say so. Otherwise, you have a fine. If you follow the logic, it's exactly it's the
same.
same.
There's a big difference between seatbelts, though, and
Why?
Other things. I mean, it's a bad example, for you, because I have a 12-passenger Ford van.
Okay.
I have 6 children, and I have me and my wife. So there's 8 people in my family.
Yes.
I am insistent that my children wear seatbelts, not because it's the law, but to protect them from other crazy drivers. If, as you said, if somebody else was drinking and driving and they hit my van, they T-boned me, right? And my van rolled over and my children didn't have seatbelts on, my children probably would be flung from the vehicle and they would be a bloody mess and they would be dead. I don't wear seatbelts because it's the law. I wear them because it protects my children, my family, and myself.
I do the same. I wear my seatbelt because I think it's a good thing to do. And more important, if I have a child, they wear the seatbelt, period, not because it's the law, because I'm a responsible father. So I'm talking about right now, let's not compare apple with oranges. I'm talking about a person over 18 in the legal age to decide for his life, to go to war and to do everything else. I think should have that freedom to decide what is good for you in that moment. Everybody under 18, of course, must follow the basic safety rules. And that's a must. It's a duty. But when you're over 18 and you're not, I don't think you should be facing the punishment by the government, because in that moment, the government tells you, it's the law, I own your body, I know what's better for you. You get, by the way, the same principles of the seatbelt in New York for a moment. They had it in the salt. The city of New York outlaw to selling salt, to giving salt during the different restaurants, because they think salt is bad for you. And by the way, also they have the same situation with the sodas. I don't drink sodas, but I think people should have the freedom to drink a gallon of soda if they want to, and get sick with diabetes if they want. All I care that they can pay for their own insurance bill. Okay.
I agree, but I mean, I think you should use the speed limit as a better example, right? In Utah, finally, they've raised the speed limit to 80 miles per hour. In Texas, they've raised it to 80 or 85. In Montana, they've also raised, back in the 1970s during the oil embargo, the federal government mandated that the speed limits were as low as 55 miles per hour, right? Yes. Why? I would have like maybe a larger, thing to say about, the speed limit laws, because, if I'm a good driver and I'm not endangering people, why should I not be allowed to drive faster, right? On highways and freeways and things like that.
There is a general law normally, that with more speed, you get more risk to be more dangerous. That's a fact, especially depends on the road, the condition of the road and the traffic. So, the general law, remember when I took my little driver license, it wasn't just about the speed limit that they say, but also to drive accordingly to the conditions of the environment. So it's kind of a little bit more different, but that's okay. Listen, I want to just...
Not really, though, because there is facts that people who don't wear their seatbelts have a higher chance of dying if they happen to get in a wreck, whether it's their fault or not.
Fine, but you know what? If I want to die...
Identical, comparison between speeding and seatbelts.
Paul, exactly. But the point, if I die, and it's my choice. And the government should have no influence to decide, how I'm going to die in my life. That's my point. I don't want to die. Don't get me wrong. I like life, okay? But the point that I'm not in danger anybody else when I put a seatbelt or not. When I go too fast, I may be a danger to others. Anyway, let's change topic. Let's go to something a little more fun, okay? I mean, this is fun for me, too. I like them all. We talk about the legalization of drugs. We talk about personal freedom. We talk about, who owns our body. Now, let's talk about, first of all, economy, How are you going to try to help us out to pay less taxes in the state of Arizona? Because I like that topic.
Well, one of the things that I want to do when I get into the legislature is I want to bring economic development, especially to rural Arizona, especially to La Paz and the Mojave County. There are so many people here who live as retirees who have pensions, say from California, from CalSTRS or CalPERS or whatever. Mm-hmm. These pensions are not going to last forever. In essence, our economies in Lake Havasu City and, La Paz County and Mojave County, they're very dependent upon these pension incomes, to have money infused into our society. Well, we don't have that much industry, especially not down in Lake Havasu. We need more industry. We need more jobs. We need more companies out here. Little Debbie, McKee is thinking about building a cake plant in the West. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a truck hub right there in Kingman, right outside of Kingman. And, they're thinking about it, right? Well, if they did, that'd bring 900 new jobs to the Kingman area, the Kingman-Mojave County area, right? So, I need to do things that would help to encourage economic growth and economic development in our towns that we live in here.
What do you think about, there was a topic that was kind of controversial a few years ago, just a couple years ago, about bringing the sale tax to all the internet stores, for example, that, very well, there is a federal law that you cannot pay taxes if you ship to out of state, but there was pretty much like a group of retailers, businesses, in Phoenix especially, that they advocated that every internet business in Arizona, regardless if they sell in the state or across the state, where you should not pay sale tax, they must be paying sale tax on the internet. What do you think about that?
Well, I do like the idea of a, property tax and a usage tax. So usage tax would be, like sales tax. You buy more goods and services, then you pay taxes, right? The thing is that we're taxed in so many ways, though. I mean, there's a death tax. There's a license and registration, tax. There's, state income tax, federal income tax, Medicaid and Social Security tax. Then you have sales tax, and you have, not just, county sales tax, city sales tax, state sales tax. We're taxed coming and going every day of the week. I'd love to figure out a way to lessen the taxes.
Okay, but this is a specific thing.
For gas, so that we can drive on the roads and.
No, I understand.
Like
I wanted to stick with this topic. I understand there are too many taxes. I agree with you. But the point is, this is specific was an attempt from the lawmakers a couple years ago to pass a sale tax for all the internet retailers based in Arizona when they sell across the state. And we know very well there was also already there's some Supreme Court cases that you're supposed not to pay sale tax when you sell across the state. What do you think about that? There would be something.
Amazon would be a good example, right? Amazon sells stuff in all 50 states. And sometimes when you buy stuff on Amazon, there's no sales tax. And sometimes when you buy stuff on Amazon, there is sales tax.
Yeah, because it depends on first of all, where they ship from. And more important, depends the fact that Amazon has bases and headquarters, or at least, offices everywhere all over the states. In this case, a specific like little small business, like that the mom and pop internet business, they move from California, for example, and they stay in Arizona, and they have just a little headquarters in Arizona. Why they should pay also a sale tax just because they are selling across the state to another state? And more important, at that point, very well, they would completely penalize them, and they would give no more the edge to be on the internet. What do you think about that?
Well, like I said, Luke, I'm mostly against taxes, but, our government is addicted to taxes. They have to have taxes to run all of the programs and the socialist, nature that our government is. So, I don't know a ton about this, interstate taxes and things like that.
Something to think about. I'll give you just.
They're a necessary evil.
No problem. Okay. I want just to give you some thought for your mind. It's something to think. We like to learn from each other. I'm trying to learn from you, and maybe I can give you some inputs here. There was a really important legislation that they were trying to pass a couple of years ago, and I will send it to you. Something to think about, because if you want to bring businesses to Arizona, I tell you, I'm a business owner, okay? I have different businesses, and mostly I do internet, okay? And if I knew that Arizona was going to make me pay a sale tax, even when I sell across the state, I would stay the hell out away from Arizona. I would move my business to Nevada. Simple as that. So just to give you an idea, and I will send you the link of that. There was a very important thing. I remember Senator Gould at the time helped us out to stop this sort of intrusion in our private business. That was the story. Now, another little thing, talking about how to pay less taxes. Do you like Nevada, the fact that they don't have income tax? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's wonderful that they don't have income tax, but at the expense of having gambling, I don't know if it's a good trade-off. Gambling is a net negative to society.
Okay, but do you gamble?
Do I gamble? No.
Oh, I don't gamble either. Guess what? I hate gambling because I work hard for my money. But guess what? If somebody wants to gamble, after all, who owns their money? The government or themselves? Do they have free will to decide how they want to blast their money? Question.
Well, I mean, gambling's only legal on the state of Nevada and Indian reservations.
Okay.
Correct?
So the point is, it's kind of a nonsense right now. It's kind of a little bit of hypocritical because, after all, the state of Arizona tells me I cannot gamble legally in the state, but I can just jump in the car, cross the line called reservation, and that's fine there. It's legal, of course. Or I can just bring all my money to Laughlin and make Nevada happy. I mean, after all, if we go back to the same questions, who owns our body? Who owns the fruit of our labor? Us or the government? I don't gamble. I hate gambling. I think it's a very sad thing. Once in a while, I might drop $20 at the slot machine just because. But the bottom line is, people
just because you want to donate to the system?
No, just because I have fun. They're my money after all, and I think if I want to blast them on anything, I should have that freedom. But
So gambling might be illegal, right? But why do we still have a lottery?
The point is, even the lottery, after all, it's another form of gambling if you think about it. But just the government says that's okay.
Definitely is gambling.
So the point is this: where you stop the line? Why, when the government becomes the final arbiter, the final, granddaddy or daddy that tells you what is right or what is wrong with your own money?
There's a reason, Luca, that you don't live in Nevada, though, right?
Honestly, you know what? I like Arizona for many reasons, but if they start to move, for example, more taxes and the sale tax on the internet, and I might consider to cross the border because I tell you, I like the idea. Nevada is not perfect, Arizona is not perfect. There is no perfection. After all these are government made by humans, okay, by men. So there is no perfection, but we can work together to try to make it better. And for me, better what means the government is not my God. Because unfortunately now we are putting government now as a role of God, or at least the one that tells us exactly how to live our life, if we have to, what we can eat, what we cannot eat, what we can buy, what we cannot buy, how we can spend our money, how we cannot spend our money. As I said, I don't smoke marijuana. I hate it. And normally, nobody around me smokes marijuana because I don't even like the smell. But I would defend with my life the right of the people to smoke rat poison if they wish, if they do it in the safety of their home. Same story with gambling. Somebody's so stupid to give their money away that you work so hard at the casino. Guess what? Go ahead, make my day. I pray for you. Nothing I can do. It's your choice. After all, Jesus told us, we have free will. We have free will. Otherwise, everybody would go to heaven. We have to decide what we do.
So one of the most important things, Luca, that we could probably do as we get involved in politics,
yes,
is we could bring back some of the state rights. Mm-hmm. See, America, with Obamacare and with all the other federal laws, they dictate, they shove down our throat what we can and can't do.
Okay.
And it's making it so that the 50 states aren't so different anymore. And different is good, right?
I agree.
If Texas and Arizona, have these, no income tax, right? Like Texas doesn't have an income tax.
Yes.
Right? Businesses are going there like crazy. Because,
I agree.
They want to go to Texas because it's better for income tax. Now they have a higher property tax because of that. But the thing is that I wish that every state, all 50 states, were a little bit more independent, and they could actually separate themselves one from another a little bit better, so that Arizona could make, things that would attract people to Arizona, the freedom that we have, the right to bear arms.
Let's talk about guns. I agree with you. We need to have
these gun-free zones, they're great for who? They're only great for the criminals.
Exactly. Let's talk about guns. Let's talk. I like to touch a little bit every topic. So I don't want to focus too much because we could make an hour just about one topic, okay? But we got the idea. We have our own different ideas, and some we agree, of course. Some we can learn from each other. Now, let's talk about guns. Arizona is the #1 state voted by Guns and Ammo for the best gun rights. And this is, I tell you, I think it's a great result. A lot of good people put a lot of effort the last 10 years. And so what do you think about the idea that, after all, many politicians start to claim that guns, they are for sport purposes or just to keep in your home to defend yourself? What is the real role of the Second Amendment? What is the real purpose, in your opinion? Why do we have a Second Amendment as Americans?
Well, it's interesting. I just read an article, actually last night. So yesterday morning at 2 a.m., there's actually a financial advisor, and he lived in Utah, and he works for Cambridge Financial. Anyways, he's 47 years old. 2 a.m., somebody's banging at his door, not just banging on it, trying to kick it in, trying to break into his house. Well, he wakes up, he grabs his gun, he goes to his front door, and they have a verbal confrontation. And this other gentleman on the other side of the door is still trying to break down his door. Well, I don't know what was said. I obviously wasn't there, but in the article, the man started to run away. Well, the homeowner decided to chase after him. They got about 4 houses down, and the gentleman who was running away turned around with his single shotgun and shot the homeowner in the chest. Then the homeowner shot the gentleman twice.
Wow.
Both men died. Okay, so guns, right? Was it the gun that killed them, or was it the man? Right?
Well, it was a little bit of stupidity, the lack of tactics.
Exactly. But I'm sure that the gentleman that was the homeowner, because of the business he was in, I'm sure he had a lot of life insurance. I'm sure his family's going to be okay.
I know,
but he should probably not have pursued him, right? He's not a police officer.
No, there is no reason.
The police should have gone after him, right? And then he'd still be alive.
Paul, I understand. Let's take 1 second with one thing specifically. I understand this is a specific case. We could talk probably in the second hour. I talk just about guns, tactics, and things like that. My question was, what is exactly, or at least what was the original intent from our founding fathers when they put together this Second Amendment? What was for personal defense? Was to go out or hunting?
The Bill of Rights, as was written in the Constitution, was so that every American citizen who lawfully is able to own a gun, which should be almost everybody except for obviously criminals, it is for us to protect ourselves from other people and from the government. In the Revolutionary War, why did we need guns? To protect ourselves from the English? Yes. Yet we were citizens of England, right? Mm-hmm. But no, we needed guns to protect ourselves because they were quartering themselves in our houses. The Boston Massacre,
Okay, perfect.
A bunch of citizens were shot, right? It would have been nice if they would have had guns. When the British went out in Connecticut to go get the guns and the gunpowder and the cannons, that's Lexington and Concord. That's the first 2, scrimmages.
Got it, Paul.
Of the Revolutionary War. So I believe that we should always have the right to bear arms to protect not only our freedom, but from other people, from criminals, but also to protect from the government.
Okay, perfect. Got the question, got the answer. Do you like to, beside the philosophical, of course, and the principle of the Second Amendment, do you like to enjoy to go to the range? Any specific rifle that you like to shoot? Did you ever serve in any military branches? First of all, do you like shoot at the range? Do you go out?
So I'm an Eagle Scout, and I have the rifle merit badge.
Okay.
And I love shooting. I was actually an archery instructor at a Boy Scout camp over in Arizona called Camp Geronimo.
Okay.
And so, I love shooting. I own more than a dozen guns. I love shotguns and 22s and,
Excellent. I like to, as I'm always, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of people that I know, they believe completely in the Bill of Rights, in the Second Amendment, but they don't have a gun, and that's fine with me. It is just something that I like to also share with our listeners, our potential candidate. By the way, we're talking here with Paul-Mosley from Lake Havasu, guys, that is running for LD5 for a state representative for the House, okay? So this is pretty much the conversation we're having. And even if you are outside the state, say, I am in Phoenix, or I have listeners, for example, from New York, or I have listeners from Scotland. Doesn't matter. The principle that we're trying to apply here is that, first of all, every one of us, especially young people, should be involved in government, okay? And this is just a forum. We try to talk about topics. Normally I talk on the show. The show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom. Of course, we talk about personal responsibility. We're talking about individual rights, guns, and also love. Now, let's talk about love for a moment. You remember what I told you at the beginning? Who owns our body? Correct? Us or the government? What did you answer? Us, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now, what do you think if a woman, or even a man, goes out in the bar, and, I don't want to judge others because, we're not here to judge, but he starts to go out and be very promiscuous, Let's say a woman goes out and at the bar and every night brings home a different man or whatever. You think that something the government should intervene say you go out too many times, say you may be there, be a sinner or whatever. It's immoral. What do you think about that? Promiscuity could be something the government should be interfering in our special sexual or social relationships.
Well, as you know, our United States of America was founded on Christian Judeo principles.
Okay.
And some of those Christian Judeo principles made it so that there was laws in the original 13 colonies that, yes, were against this promiscuousness, right? Our society has changed a lot in the last 250 years, where the promiscuous nature of our society is much more acceptable. And so a lot of these laws
wait,
that are on the
Paul,
books
let me stop you 1 second, Paul.
Aren't enforced anymore.
Paul, 1 second. Can we read together the First Amendment? I understand we were founded on these principles of Judeo-Christian. That's fine. But also there was very important that the First Amendment or the Bill of Rights reminded us that the government should never force on anybody out there any specific moral or religious beliefs. That's why it's called freedom of religion. Okay? Now, I'm a monk. Forget about me. I'm just talking for the sake of conversation, okay? But I believe that if a woman or a man wants to go out and have as many partners they want, I pray for them that they're going to be safe, but that's not the point. It's their personal life. I don't think the government should have any business to even think about it, that's moral or immoral. I mean, we should never, the question is, should we ever legislate on morality? That's the question.
So, if you look at the United States of America right now, since the 1970s, almost, now 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2002, almost all of the sodomy laws have been struck down. So right now, no, the government's not, no longer is the government in our bedrooms.
Okay,
right?
Good. And as I said, I'm not gay, but if somebody wants to do that, it's them and God. I'm not going to be there and judge others, After all, all I care that they don't do in front of me and they don't try to push it on me. That's my matter. I think, as I said before, everybody should have the free will to decide what they want to do until, they don't become danger to others. Now, question about love, So if we're okay, a woman can go out in the bar and give it away for free, why a woman or a man should be in prison and put to jail if instead of just giving it away for free, he's going to charge for her or for his work, sexual favors? Why right now prostitution should be completely illegal? We know, for example, in places like Nevada, there are some regulations, of course, to keep always the safety of the customers, but it's a business that I do not condone. Honestly, I don't like. If I had a daughter, I say, please don't do that. But if somebody wants to do it, I think it's their body and should be their freedom. What do you think about legalizing prostitution in the state of Arizona like the Nevada's model?
I think it's only legal in Pahrump.
No, there are also other parts of north part of Nevada. There are different counties.
Because in Clark County, it's not legal.
No, Clark County, no. But there are parts of, because I had the super professional #1 legal prostitute, Air Force Amy. She was in the Reno area. So not that part of Reno, it's legal. But regardless, forget about Nevada. I think the point is the principle. Who owns our body? If I am a worker, if I am a farmer, okay, if I am a person that goes there and picking up vegetables, I'm selling you my arms. I'm selling you the strength of my body to do that job. You pay me for the hour. A woman maybe doesn't have the strength. Maybe she has a different type of muscles she wants to, sell. And don't get me wrong, I don't like it. But guess what? It's their right. And I don't think she should go to jail because she does a private commerce with somebody else without coercion. There is no coercion. That's the most important thing. So anyway, do you condone? Would you approve the idea to have legalization of prostitution?
I'm a God-fearing man and I'm a Christian man. And,
okay.
I don't want something like that to ever be legal.
Okay.
In the States or out of the States, it's horrible. It's ungodly. It's,
okay.
It's against human nature. Marriage.
Paul, that's fine. Paul, I agree with you, Paul. Listen to me.
And it
Paul,
should remain that way.
Paul, we believe in the same thing, but there's a difference, though. I don't want to impose my beliefs on others. Not everybody believes in what we do. Okay? This is your opinion. I mean, you have your religious beliefs. And by the way, since we're speaking about religion, you know, I'm a Christian without church. Okay? I'm a Reformed Catholic. I ran from the Pope because I don't stand any man between me and God. Okay? What is your background? Because I would like to know, so at least everybody understands, you know, it's important. You're bringing up now your morals according to your religion. What is exactly your church?
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Perfect. So that's good. You know, and I like that because everybody must be proud of what they do. And the only thing I say, you know, for my personal religion, I would never impose my beliefs on others. I don't go to prostitute. I never went to a prostitute in my life. I don't gamble. I don't smoke marijuana. At the same time, I think everybody should have the free will to decide how to live their life without government interference. Government should never, in my opinion, never legislate on morality. Now, we don't have the time.
So to answer your question, though, I mean, you know, should prostitution be legal?
Yeah.
You know,
from my opinion, I would. You know what? For sure, shouldn't be criminal.
I mean, you know, it's very hard to regulate that. I mean, you know, as long as everything's happening behind closed doors and things like that, you know. But I mean, do I want more of that in our society? No. So I mean,
let me tell you,
I actually kind of do like the laws against it,
Paul,
because I don't like it.
Prostitution is going to be with or without the government's approval, like the drugs.
True, but there might be a lot more of it.
No, it's going to be worse. The problem that now, for example, like drugs, you know, I'll give you an example. Let's just stick with prostitution. When you go to the black market, you know, you're going to have the mafia, you're going to have the pimps, you're going to have violence, you're going to have slavery. That's the prostitution that we have right now. And you have diseases, okay? That's the bottom line. And on top, you know, if you want to talk about fair share, they're not paying taxes. The mafia doesn't pay taxes, okay? Instead, when you have the model like Nevada, you have regulation. That means, you know, at least you have some basic health. Nobody really gets sick doing these legal brothels, according to the data from the government. And more important, you have something that you get away from the control of the bad people of the mafia, and you give the opportunity for every human being to decide what they want to do with their body. And they answer only to God. They will answer only to God, not to another human. That's my humble opinion. Listen, I want to give you 60 seconds. You've been great. I really appreciate your time. You can say whatever you want. 60 seconds. People, how can they reach you? Your website, everything. Go ahead.
Well, I'm running for House of Representatives as a Republican here in Arizona. I'm pro-life, pro-family. You know, in 2014, when they just did the statistics, for every 1,000 live births, there was 147 aborted babies. You know, I wish that we could get rid of or do away with these horrible numbers. You know, I'm for economic development and for, you know, businesses, as I'm a small business owner, to do well, and for us to keep our freedom, our right to bear arms, our right of free speech, our right to worship as we wish, wherever we wish. I love the great state of Arizona. I grew up here my whole life. I graduated from high school here. I choose to raise my family here, and I want to really just serve the people of Mojave and La Paz County and the people of the state of Arizona to help us become a better state.
Perfect. Are you listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna? Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on United States.fm network. There we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.fm network, second hour. You know, I like them all. I like the first hour. It's about interviews, you know, politics and rights and, you know, conspiracies, whatever you want to call it. It's all together. And I love it. But the second hour is about guns. And it's for me, I don't know. It's even, of course, the gun itself. I never said, you know, the gun is not the final goal. It's just an instrument. It's just a tool. You know, I don't like to talk guns just because it's about, you know, like talking about, I don't know, butterflies. No, for me, the guns, it's a reminder that in America, we have a right that nobody else around the world has. As a right, not as a privilege. The right to keep and bear arms. And the purpose is, you know, as I said many times, it is not to self-defense or, you know, sport or hunting at all. The idea of our founding fathers was very clear. This is one of the few countries in the world, I think it's the only one only. I've been studying around and trying to visit many places. The only country in the world where citizens, law-abiding citizens, have the right and the duty to defend this republic, to defend the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and to defend freedom from enemies, foreign and domestic. That's why I think it's so amazing living in this country for me, especially coming from Europe, and that's why I'm so fascinated about also try to learn about guns. But, as I said, this is not just for the gun itself. It is because I believe it's really it's a mission, it's a duty, it's a commitment. So anyway, this is the second hour, like always to bring you different things, ideas and news, and also training ideas and maybe some deals that I like to shop around. But more important, I like to bring you experience from people out there, American people, or even people from around the world, that they can share their experience when it comes down to this topic. So I like to bring especially veterans, American veterans, that they have spent years in different type of, skills. And why not? I think it's one of the most important value that we have, treasure that we have, our American veterans, U.S. veterans that, they are already now on the top list of Homeland Security as potential domestic terrorists. And I understand why. Because they got the knowledge, and they got the will and the commitment to being able to defend this republic. So, things that are coming right now, I would be afraid myself if I was a tyrant of 20, 30 millions of U.S. veterans that maybe they're going to understand what's going on. So anyway, I already had this guest with me like a couple of weeks ago for a different topics. The topic was about, independent media, how to start independent media, and the value and the importance to start an independent media outlet, like also on the internet. And I have it back with me today from Idaho, the state of Idaho, a Navy veteran, and he's a great guy on top. I really appreciate his support and everything he's doing there in Idaho. His name is Michael-Emery. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hey, Luca, how you doing?
Okay, pretty good. When I start talking, I never stop. I had to stop finally. I'm glad. I'm too long sometimes. But anyway, I wanted to introduce you.
I love it.
I wanted to introduce you. I wanted to introduce you, understand, or make it, at least explain to the people why we're here, okay? This is not for me the typical gun show. With all the respect, I love them. I listen to myself, where people can start to talk about, what is the new gun? What is the new happened at today's shot show? Or whatever. For me, the gun is a tool. The idea is the mindset. The idea, of course, to know how to use it. It is not just for talking at the bar, how many guns do I have? No, bottom line, I would like to have every law-abiding person out there in America armed and trained with education and also knowledge and, of course, weapons. That's the point. That's why you're here. Give us a little bit about your background when it comes down to the service, in which branch of the armed service you were, and what is your expertise when it comes down to small weapons.
Okay. Well, I spent about 3 years in the Navy on a torpedo weapons retriever, and we didn't do too much with light firearms and stuff. Then I went into the Army as a combat medic, and back then contracting duties for sensitive things as far as politics, they'd borrow out of the Army. Anyways, so I ended up doing contract work, and they found out I had a talent. My talent was, the first weapon I worked on, I was sitting around bored, and there was this MP-38 German World War II machine gun that wouldn't work. And I was looking at it, I was thinking, you couldn't get firing pins. Anyways, I seen a Belgium FBP that was made after World War II that is a hybrid of 3 different weapons. And long story short, I found out that the bolts intersync because the Germans after World War, just right towards the end of the war, were making the bolts with fixed firing pins machined into the front face because they fire from an open bolt. So I just converted it. The guy was amazed, and from then on I started getting trained in every single type of firearm ever fielded in the world of warfare.
Okay.
And that's the background on that.
Very good. Now, I have a question, because sometimes people say, I wish I had a machine gun. I wish I had a machine gun. First of all, let's put everything in perspective, Yeah, I like to have everything just because we should, after 1934, you know very well, better than me, we as Americans, we could order a machine gun over a catalog, like at almost the grocery store, at the hardware store. And
Right.
we didn't need any special permits. We didn't need to have any special stamps. We never heard about mass murdering. It was our right. And now, of course, it becomes much more difficult, much more expensive to have a real full automatic weapon or with selective switch fire. That's what we're supposed to call, the assault weapon. I mean, we don't have any type of assault weapon because we have just semi-automatic rifles. But do we really need, as let's say, in a scenario of self-defense or even in defense of the Republic, how much really is important to have a selective fire, full auto weapon? What do you think?
Well, I can help you with that. A lot of the weapons I would do would be for special forces. And let's say we're talking an RPD and it's an open bolt weapon, but it's all fully automatic. I was taking Bren select fire trigger groups and morphing them into the lowers so that they could have select fire off the sear trip.
Wow.
Because it's better to have 75 round pan drum you can do in a selective manner than it is to dump your ammunition.
Exactly.
So a machine gun is basically for volumes of fire and cover fire, but most of the time we were wanting to keep our weapons on select fire. So really, most of the weapons that I can deal with and talk about is stuff that could be standardly owned by citizens without any special license, just with the 4473 or a concealed carry, and just do your paperwork and we're done.
Exactly.
Those are Title I weapons. What you're talking about is Title II and Title III.
So,
I can help in a lot of measures of what's the best effective weapon for the tool that you need it for, and what its capabilities to have all these fancy specs and stuff. I can put it in simple terms for you.
I would like to share, I go out there on the internet and I like to find deals and I like to find solutions, For me, my humble opinion, I'm just a regular guy trying to study all this and trying to document myself. The reality that riflemen, they are the most important assets we have in the defense of freedom. That means, yes, there are some specific use for, selective fire or full auto, but they're really much limited in some specific situations because a rifle normally is to engage the enemy a long distance. So full auto really doesn't do the job, there is no need more than 25 yards away. But, there is also sometimes some specific situation people may need that. There are some problems. We already talked in the past about, you need to go through, first of all, your state laws. Many states do not allow to have even they apply for a full auto, class 3A weapon. And then, of course, you need to go through the ATF and the stamps, and you need to find also the gun, because that's another problem,
It's very expensive. After 1984, you used to be able to build a machine gun and to apply for a $200 tax stamp and build whatever you wanted out of a parts kit, which, by the way, I built thousands of parts kits out. And rework them.
Yeah.
What I also can do is say, hey, you want to own a really cool World War II machine gun? Well, there's ways you can do it. That's semi-automatic only, and you don't have to go through all of that. And I can help people there's ways of morphing two different weapons to make a belt-fed semi-automatic.
Yeah.
With the parts kits available and the parts out there, it's far cheaper. So customizing different applications for what specific needs and the tool that it is, and also the application I can help with. And
I always would like to remind everybody, we're not here to give any type of legal advice, so check your state laws, check your county laws, check where, your laws, because this can be very serious, just having full automatic parts on a rifle that even it doesn't go full out, they can pretty much get you in trouble. I mean, you can become a felon just because your rifle, by accident, there was a case with, I think it was in Washington State, I guess, a veteran, was a National Guard guy, at the range.
Olympic Arm AR-15, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yes, AR-15 from Olympic Firearms, if I well remember. And, by accident, but not even accident, it was a fault of the manufacturer. It started to go on full out, for a few bursts. Somebody, of course, couldn't keep their mouth shut, and they had to call the police or the sheriff, whatever it was, and the ATF got involved. And even I remember the case, the Olympic Firearms, the manufacturer said, listen, this is not his fault. It was a malfunctioning product. no more. They just give him they throw the book at him. I mean, they really put him in jail. I mean, this is.
I know the backdrop of that case. They actually couldn't hardly get it to duplicate, and they had to find soft primers.
Yes.
To get it to do it. It was an insanity.
Yeah.
And always folks remember about the safety sallies, the guys they're the Thunder Chiefs that say there's some bad, but they're kind of a little quick. They want to tattletale on everybody, and when you call the cops, they got to make a report. So it's sometimes not a good idea. Anyway.
Anyway, the point is, it's a serious matter, unfortunately. Just because your barrel may be half-inch shorter, or maybe because your gun malfunctions and it starts to act like a little bit of bump fire without, the bump fire. I mean, this is a serious matter. They like to use the ATF to, my opinion, as an act of tyranny, because what happened to this guy, a law-abiding person, a veteran that he also, for me, honestly, I don't believe in 1934 National Firearm Act. I think it's completely unconstitutional, but even beside that, the law should be applied for at least without type of, abuse, because that was an abuse of power. I mean, so be careful, guys, out there. If you want to go for a full auto or select fire, try to follow every rules, otherwise you're really going to get in trouble. Now, I have some solutions, because I always said, my opinion, I don't want to apply for an ATF or a federal stamp because I don't want to deal with them. Even if I could afford the ammo, even if I could afford the stamp, of course, I live in the state of Arizona, that it's great. They don't give you any problems, but I don't want to comply. I don't want to submit myself. So I have some solutions. Maybe you heard about that, and I want your opinion. There are different type of bump fire systems that they can pretty much select your rifle from single shot, semi-auto, and then go in burst. And I found
those operate off the recoil system. Those work fairly well, and a lot of people like to do that just to go out and have fun. Because look, firearms are fun. It's a recreational activity. We do shoots all the time where we just go out and have a good time. And hey, that's what makes America great.
Yeah, and that's true. And there's also the fun part. I agree with you. But also for me, it's also a very much practical use. Can I ever think I could use in some situation like my AR-15 or my AK-47, rifle style, because of course it's not real AK-47, it's just a style. But could I ever have the need to have some sort of full auto? Think about it, So I found this solution on bumpfiresystems.com. The price went down a lot now. You can get.
How much are they going for now? Do you know?
What happened?
They went down about 25% from what I'm understanding.
Yeah, now you can get, for example, a bumpfire stock pistol grip and ready to go for your AR-15 for just $99, $100. Okay.
Yeah, folks, I've test fired these and tested them out, and they work very effectively. You'll be pleased with it, and it's all legal.
Yes,
so
yes.
And I encourage people to go get that.
Yeah, I shot one friend of mine. I have one for the AK-47 that works great. I put it on my AK-74 that, even less recoil. It's much more manageable. By
the way, AKs, I've built thousands of them. Yeah. I'm a professor on them. So.
Yeah, so I tell you guys, if you're curious, if you want to try the feeling of have this selective fire, that you can go from single shot semi-auto and you can go to burst or full auto for just $99. And I remind you, this is not my sponsor. I really do this because I really would like to empower every law-abiding gun owner there to have every tool they may need to do the job. Okay, so bumpfiresystems.com, and they're beautiful. $99, definitely worth it. So anyway, let's talk about a little bit about the AK-47 platform. Okay, you build them. You can build them from pretty much from just the receiver. Are you able to do that?
I've built receivers from scratch out of flat sheet metal.
Wow.
All right. I've taken barrels. I was one of the first ones that designed the shorter barrels in the United States that had 9-inch barrels. And I did it by you have to have back pressure. And always remember, folks, your the principles on your AK-47 is the back pressure to shoot the bolt back by the gas itself on your piston.
Wow.
Okay? And then your spring pressure on your hammer can affect it too. If you got low back pressure, you'll end up having a little bit of a problem. And now the Yugoslavians that they had on parts kits, did not have chrome lined barrels, so they had a grenade launcher system on it. And so if you get a parts kit from them, beware, because sometimes you lose gas and then you lose your back pressure.
Okay, interesting. Because I'm always fascinated when I find, for example, there are some great deals out there on different websites. Also, for example, one normally I go is Center Fire Systems, and they sell you just...
Center Fire is pretty good. Yeah, I like Center Fire.
Yeah, what do you buy normally? If you want to buy a plain, just a receiver like that you need to work around that, where is the best place you would suggest to buy a receiver for that?
Okay, the best receivers around is Nodak Spud. And the reason they're good is when I was building weapons out here in Boise, Idaho, I was asked by the person that was setting up that company, what would you do, Michael? And I said, I'd go overseas, and I'd find people that built those. And so what he did is he made them to the specs of Russian manufacturing, even to the heat temperature temp. And here's the beauty of it, folks. A sheet metal receiver must flex, okay? Whenever I build one, I used swell-necked rivets. And you can get them from akbuilder.com.
Okay.
And then on the trunnion on the front, I countersink them so that you can put it together. Look, when you're firing these guns, they have a flex from the point to your shoulder that can change your point of objective down your barrel. But if you have it flex even, you're going to be more accurate.
Okay. Interesting. And let's give again this website because I like to. These are very important information. Sometimes it's hard to find these sources.
Okay, Curtis Sebring, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, owns akbuilder.com. I helped him out when he was first setting it up on advice.
Okay.
And he's got some of the best jigs out there. And if you want to make one from flat, folks, go for it. Just remember your heat treating process is so important. If you go too much, you get brittle. If you go too little, then you get bends.
Wow.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, this is, for me, way above my skills. If I can put together, assemble a kit, that's plenty. To start to build a receiver from scratch, I can do that. So you have like machinery equipment? You know how to machine metal?
Yes, I know how to machine metal. I'm an old school mill operator. Don't put me in front of a CNC machine, but if you give me a part, I can duplicate it down to 1,000th almost.
Wow, this is very important skill, by the way. I tell you, I really believe one of the things that we need to retain and try to encourage, it is not just the manufacturing ammunition, but also the manufacturing of small business that they can create weapons, because that's the problem. I really realize that now with the new treaties, like for example, look at the TTP and the TPP, and of course the Small Arms Treaty, and all these United Nations try to pass all these different type of international treaties. They will be able to limit also our type of imports that we can have of guns. So we gotta start to get back to the people like you that able to start a business and start to create from metal like we used to do, small arms. That's very important, and ammunition, of course. Now, if you had to, let's say, for me, the AK, it's a rifle that at the end of the day could be one of the solutions, in my opinion, for the average person that doesn't have much money, doesn't have much training, but wants to have a rifle that could be, enough to create a rifleman without even going to the rifleman territory, because
it is a Unitarian weapon that you can hand to somebody as small as a 9-year-old up to a woman, and without going all fancy, you can get them comfortable. Always remember, folks, if you're training somebody with a weapon, don't make it rigid. Make it fun. Don't make it like your special forces or something.
Exactly.
And get them close to just fire a couple of shots and have fun with it. Women generally will love the AK-47 because it doesn't hurt their shoulders. It's a comfortable weapon to fire, and And unlike the conspiracy out there, an AK-47 can be a very accurate weapon if it's the right platform.
I agree. You know, I have one of my most accurate AK. I think is the most accurate. It is the M as Mary M10 762B. It's from Bud's Gun Shop. I bought it. They call it the M10, and it's
Is that a mill receiver?
It's
That's not a mill receiver, is it?
I think so. You know, I think so. Let me check one
That's
second.
maybe a mill receiver.
I think so too.
Okay.
It's much more solid. It is not like the stamped. It's much more solid. It's different type of the barrel. Call for okay. I have it in front of me. People can go find out. Unfortunately, they are sold out. They are on. I bought mine at Bud's Gun Shop. I think they're in Kentucky. budsgunshop.com. And bottom line, with this M10 AK type rifle, I'm able to put completely keep my 4 minutes of angle. That means that at 25 yards, when I zero my rifle, I can get all my group in 1 square inch. I do my little square inch, made of a black marker, and I can put all my 5 rounds with the iron sight in 1 square inch. That then translates when you go to 200 yards, we go in the, the environment of 8 square inches. And that's the typical standard of a rifleman, goal, that we need to achieve, because the idea would be to get that rifle, of course, at 500 yards, keep it in the 20 square inches. Of course, we have problems when we go down over 300 yards with the type of cartridge, 7.62 by 39, there is much of a drop, but the point is from 0 to 200 is extremely accurate. I mean, that's for me the most accurate AK I found without getting to the, custom territory, You have any special AK that you like?
My favorite AKs are either Bulgarian and a lot of the Romanians. Look, if you got those Romanian MAC-10s and all these other things out there, they are mil-spec receivers, straight from Romania with chrome line barrels. The beauty about those Romanian AKs is that in the Cold War days, they built bins upon bins upon bins of parts. And what they're doing is putting together old Cold War stock. The receivers are military receivers with reinforced stamps. Not that I would say to do anything with these receivers. You'd have to go to your local ATF and check out and what license you have to do. But they have the reinforcement stamps for the third pinhole. And the reason I'm stating that is because those are mil-spec, military-built receivers that are tougher than nails, and you're usually going to get a very accurate rifle out of them. But always remember that in the manufacturing process, you've got 10 rifles that are built, and each and every one of those may be a little bit more accurate than the other. In an armory situation, I would get 500 weapons, and would assign people out there, and I would put a chart to mark down which one is most accurate, and then put it into the bin for who's the better soldier to give that better rifle to. Okay? So the Romanians, for cost per dollar, are the best. But if you really want to get into something, the Bulgarians really, hands up, did the best. The AK-74 is a wonderfully accurate weapon if you want to reach out and touch somebody. And here's something that for people to understand about the AK-74. The Russians designed it so in the battlefield in an emergency, they can put .223 or 5.56 in the mag and it will fire it.
Wow, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, and yeah.
That's good. That's why also I like the AK platform. Don't get me wrong. If you want to really go all the way to become a rifleman, I think you should have, in my opinion, a cartridge that, start to become like a 308. But the point is, it's a great intermediate cartridge, and the AK platform, I think it's a great solution for many Americans that maybe now, they want to have something that it's a little more powerful than the typical 5.56 or 223, and also the easy, and sometimes, you don't have much time to learn how to change the parts or buy a lot of spare parts. Don't get me wrong, I like the AR platform, but if I had to get one rifle and one rifle only, I would seriously get a very good AK-47, like, for example, the one that I talked before. And I shot it myself because I have it. It's my favorite AK-47. It's called the M10 from Bud's Gun Shop. And by the way, you have also some sort of upgrades. Like, for example, you have your rear sight that is adjustable, something normally the regular AK-47 partner rifle don't have. And then you have a different type, of course, of pistol grip. It's little bigger than the average smaller size AK. Much more comfortable, but very accurate. The receiver is very solid, and it costs a little more. But I tell you, I compare that accuracy almost to my M14 or M1A. Of course, there is different type of cartridge, different type of final results. But I think it's an incredible rifle. And then AK-74, as you were saying, that would be another great solution. You can compare the type of cartridge to the 223, and the only problem now, honestly, it's the ammo. You remember the Russia-made, 545 by 39 that they were with they had the how you call the steel penetrator with they were tumbling. There was the air pocket.
Oh, he's the guy who turned dirt cheap there for a long time. I had an AK-74 that was a Class 2 manufactured weapon.
Yeah.
And I put a 3-shot burst system, which only comes in what is that? A Polish tansel. Mm-hmm. And I morphed that into that. It was a Class 2 weapon and everything. But you could get that ammunition, I think it was 1,200 rounds in a can or something like that, for $100. But now it's harder to find.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So you got to consider, folks, the ammunition and availability. So 7.62 times 39 I recommend, because it does have very serious knockdown power. Somebody's got a vest on, let's say an enemy's coming across the shores or whatever. Mm-hmm. If they've got a vest on, it'll knock them back so you can get a second shot.
Yeah,
I mean, and a 223 won't.
Exactly. I mean, the 545 by 39, the one that used to be the Russian with the steel core, they were amazing, because also they used to have the steel core inside that used to tumble. There was a sort of air pocket and was really devastating the final results. Now, unfortunately, as you said, they're very hard to find. The price went up. You can find the commercial, Wolf, but they're not the same. They don't have the type of penetration they used to have, the steel core. So definitely, I think, and also the price is going up because they're becoming more difficult. I would start from a 7.62 by 39. Definitely would be what I would suggest to look into that, because ammo, they're still available. And I tell you, I can, let's say scenarios, you're in your home or you're in your ranch or whatever, and you got somebody try to break through the gate or with a car or with a truck. Just an idea, okay? Can be many other different scenarios. You try to shoot at that truck, to stop that truck, or through the glass, to stop the aggressor, with your 5.56, we have problems there. It's not going to go through really well, even with the steel core stuff, the green tip. Not going to be. There's also deflection value through shooting through foliage with a 223 that has high deflection value. Exactly. In other words, you're not going to hit somebody as accurately through foliage with a 223 as you would with a 7.62 times 39. Exactly. I mean, think about somebody's hiding behind a wall. I mean, even if it's just a dry wall, but if there are, let's say, some, studs and pieces of wood, you're not going to have that type of penetration. I mean, I think definitely to look into the 7.62 by 39. And by the way, I was looking right now at the prices, so sad. The 545 by 39 Russian full metal jacket, 53 grain. The one that used to be, for like $100 for 1,000. Now they're exactly $270 for 1,000 on Ammo Man. That's actually still somewhat cost effective for what you get. Yeah, that's true. Because those will defeat, that round will defeat a lot of vests. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They are still core. Okay, so it does have some serious penetration value, and its wound path is gnarly. It hooks when it goes in, and they designed it for it to be a very painful wound. But in any case, it is but the Russians have gone back to 7.62 times 39, the way I understand. Wow, I didn't know that. Interesting. A lot of them have. They need the knockdown. Yeah. That's the point. The knockdown is the point, folks. You got to stun them. If there's an intruder, you may be half asleep.
So, in any case, that's my suggestion.
And of course, if you had the chance, let's say in an ideal world that people can afford, and I hope you can, guys, buy now till you can, it's good to have a caliber for every situation and also for every environment. Let's say you live in an environment like an apartment, or your house is very close to another house. I would be a little leery to have a 762 by 39 in that type of apartment, because I can go through the intruder or my opponent and still go through the wall, especially the drywall.
There's good things about that. You can get a Sega shotgun, okay, that is an AK-47 platform. It is a beauty. If you're going to get a shotgun, get the Sega 12 gauge. You can get them in 410, and they're great.
Yeah, or even if you get just a 12 gauge, but you can keep it with the bird shots. Especially if you must test, of course, always the type of quality of ammo. When we talk about semi-automatic, even the Sega, they're really reliable. I have them, but always test the ammo, especially when you get ammos like, for example, lighter loads, like the not full power, like maybe back shots or things like that. So test them out to be sure they cycle correctly. So anyway, one thing I would like to help our listeners, because sometimes people like to do experiment. They start to get kits. Maybe they are these foreign kits, like AK-47 kits or whatever. And then they start to mix them up with other parts, and then they forget, unfortunately, these stupid but very serious ATF regulations. I don't think it's a law. This is just another regulation, I guess. The 922R. Are you familiar with the 922 regulations, or whatever it's called? That you must...
Okay. I think I am... brief everybody what that regulation is. I think I know what it is, but go ahead.
6 U.S.-made parts compliance requirements.
Oh, you're talking about, I would like to help folks out with this. Okay, if you're building your own firearm, and I give advice to even local ATF. If you're building your own firearm, not for retail sale, that's different than a retail sell item. Okay, once you purchase, let's say you go buy a 922R gun from the gun show and stuff like that. But you want to kind of work your triggers, but you're using just semi-automatic parts. You're not modifying the receiver or anything else. But you'd like a mil-spec hammer or something like that. There's nothing they can do to you on that. Because now if you sell it, here's the point. Here's where the gray area is. If you sell it, now you put it back into a retail side.
Wow, interesting.
All right. So that is some of the myths that are out there. And, it is for manufacturing processes. And if you look at it, it's a commerce law.
Okay.
And always remember commerce, folks. That's how ATF has been able to do what they've done.
Yes, that's true.
And I'm not here to give legal advice, but this is an established standing.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Interesting. So that's the bottom line, guys. Look around, and if you want to buy a ready-to-go AK, there are a lot of ideas out there. But if I can give you my personal humble, if I had to get all my AKs and say, okay, I trade them for one, I said again, the best AK I found was on Bud's Gun Shop, or you can buy it anywhere else, wherever you find it. It's called the M as Mary 10 762, and it's a very most accurate AK I found out of the shop, like that. Then, of course, if you have the opportunity to know people like Michael that can help you out to put together a kit, maybe, I don't know if Michael does it for a living or some sort of, but I would like to, regardless, I would like you, Michael, give your contacts. Maybe people have questions, or maybe they would like to ask some help, or maybe they want to get some work with you going, some business, how they can reach you out.
Okay. Well, you can contact me at my email address at tvoimgun@gmail.com, and I'll get right back with you. And if you are a Class 2 manufacturer, I can fly to wherever you're at, and whatever parts kits is available. I've built every single type of parts kit that's ever been imported into the United States.
Wow.
And I know how to do it right with internal jigs, and I know how to TIG weld them and all that other stuff. And on top of that, I can also, if you're going to set up a manufacturing process for semi-automatics or anything else, I've worked subcontract with a lot of other manufacturers.
Very
it's
good.
just something to think about.
That's very interesting skill.
Anyway.
A very interesting skill. Because I tell you guys, every one of you that maybe has some kids and want to put them together, it's something you can play around. But if you have to have a rifle that you want really to count on it, and your life must depend on it, you must be sure it's done correctly. Okay, so I wouldn't.
Would you like to know what the best deals are out there right now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt. The N92 Yugoslavian is off-the-shelf mil-spec parts that was the Yugoslavian's version of a Krinkov, a shorter-barreled weapon. The twister, I don't remember the twist on them, but the twist on them is nice, and they're very accurate.
Wow.
And you can get a stock that goes around your arm that's almost like a stock so that you can get more accuracy out of it. And in Prescott, Arizona, there's
JG Sales.
J&G Cells, they're a great outfit.
Yes.
And if you go to J&G Cells, they've got some of the best prices. So go to your FFL dealer, whoever they are, see if they've got their FFL with J&G, and you can call J&G, order the weapon, it goes to your FFL, and you're good to go. And I think you can get them for like $400 or $450. And if you want to do a $200 tax stamp on it, you can put an underfolder stock on it because the trimming was designed for the original underfolder without it being mailed out. Simple.
Yes, that's very good idea. And also I would like to remind you guys, if you want to have that rifle, or it is an AR platform, AR-15 platform, or an AK, and you want to have the opportunity to have at least also that extra selective fire, that could be a burst fire or could go completely on full auto, without having to go through the ATF and the 1934, stamps and all the stuff. There is this solution. I told you before, it really works. I shot a couple weeks ago, a couple of AR-15s. They are great. You can go to this website, and I tell you things, guys, that these are not even my sponsor. I tell you because really I care. Go to bumpfiresystems.com. You can get this bumpfire stock, pistol grip, and, all the stock for $99 for the AR-15 or for the AK-47 style rifle. And what I like, once you set them up, you can still use this link. There is a place for this link, so that's great. And also what I really like, they have this sort of a switch. You can, in less than a second, you can switch from the regular semi-automatic function of your rifle, and you can go to this new bumper fire system that if you train a little bit, you can keep that fire in a very almost like you have honestly a full automatic weapon, or at least a selective fire, like a 3-burst. Because I like honestly a lot much more 3-burst than burning 30 rounds in 2 seconds. But anyway, it's an opportunity. You can upgrade your rifle without going through, expensive fees and permits and golly God knows what you have to go through. So anyway, anything you want to talk about? Anything about guns?
Yeah.
Please go ahead. I'll give you the lead.
Okay. Now, if we want to go to another platform, folks, one of the things you need to realize is you have to have a vision of what possible scenarios you'll be faced with. And it always is something that's kind of a shock factor. And you may have friends around you who knows what the future may hold. So if you're looking for distance, the 308's it. But my recommendation is either go with the 308 or a 7.62 by 54R for the availability of ammunition. The 7.62 by 54R is also in the Dragunov type of weapon. That's a Russian sniper rifle. For cost-effective accuracy, you're going to get a fine rifle that actually has a rail system on the side. But in my personal opinion, the best, most robust rifle in a 308 is the FN FAL. Now you can go with the G3s and stuff for the HK91s, but the FN FAL, if you get the right barrel, especially if it's the Austrian type of STG 58, that's the weapon of choice. If you find an STG 58 parts kit, and it doesn't look like the barrel's too hammered, you probably got one heck of a fine accurate weapon.
Interesting. And normally, for example, for the magazines, there is always this difference between metric system and the other system, the American system. Do they have a problem when you look for a magazine? You need to be sure that they match with the system that you have, correct? Because you can have inches.
Well, you've got metric and standard. The English, you've got the two and stuff. You want to stay with the metric design, generally speaking, But in any case, if you get a Belgium or an Austrian, you're good. But try to find some good quality surplus mags. They're designed for battlefield use, and they feed. And always, it's kind of a roll of the dice on surplus. So what I do is I go out and I test the mags, and if you get one that's bad, folks, don't sell it off to somebody else.
Yeah.
Take a hammer and smash it.
Yeah.
Because that may mean the life of somebody else if you put it back out on the market.
You're right. I'm glad you said that. That's something I wanted to say. I have a lot of people that I know, and they say, okay, this magazine doesn't work. I'm going to put it at the little farmer's market or whatever, at the pawn shop or whatever. If you really want to keep it, normally what I do, I mark them and I use them for training, okay? Just for training. That means if I do dry practice or if I go at the range, I know that I'm going to train for some malfunctions. That's great. But, if you already
mark it really well with a blue piece of tape or something, because folks, here's the thing that gets most guys killed that I've seen in combat is the magazines getting mixed up.
Wow.
All right? And it is so critical.
Yeah, it's so sad.
You've got to make sure your equipment works well.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm glad you brought it up because sometimes, you have your gear, you got your rifle, you got your ammo, and you think you got your magazines. But did you test every magazine? Because every magazine, even is the same, could be a little different, especially for the AK-47. Some they snag too much, some they are too loose. Sometimes you may have something that, believe it or not, they may also start to, have problems in the feeding the round. So I would suggest you for every magazine you have in your gear, you should test them out not once, but at least twice. Be sure that they all fit perfectly. You can do emergency reload, tactical reloads, and of course, more important, they feed correctly. So test your magazine. They are important part of your rifle. And I'm glad you brought it up, the 7.62x54R, because many people say, Luca, for example, they want to upgrade their medium range rifle like the AK platform or maybe the AR-15, and they want to get an 308. And then they start to realize that becomes also another level of cost. The 308, 7.62x51, it's more expensive. But you brought up something that I think is very important. The 7.62x54R is still a very affordable round. It's comparable ballistically to a 308 or 306, and it's cheaper. You can find
And here's something for people. The Mosin Nagants in World War II, they were manufacturing these weapons, firing them at the Germans to test fire them, and then sending them to troops. But there's a difference between your Mosin Nagants. You can get a comparable amount of ammunition for a bolt action if you want a good, very accurate rifle. And surplus, some of them steel core, there's all kinds of different ammunition. It's the oldest cartridge still in existence.
Exactly.
And you get a Mosin Nagant, and now you've got something that's effective. But always look for the hexagon. If you want the top of the line, get the hexagon receiver instead of the round receiver at the front. The hexagon was built when they weren't starving for materials. They were literally melting helmets and stuff to build the round ones in the 1943s, 44s.
Oh, they're great.
Whatever.
They're great. And I already said, out there, sometimes, you got to do what you got to do, and you got to do it now. You don't want to wait that you win the lottery to get your battlefield rifle. It's better to have a Mosin Nagant that is accurate, that you select it, and you see that the barrel is straight and is still in good condition, and more important, you train. Because I tell you, when I used to go to JG sales just before, Obama took over here power in the country, there was like a rush. Everybody was buying everything. And, and just for fun at the time, I say, let me get some Mosin Nagant. And I underestimated the rifle. I think it's cool. but I never really shot it before. So I got like 7, one for each day of the week, the trip I made there. And they were affordable. They were like $110 a piece. And that was hand-picked. I spent little time to pick them up. But my point is, then I realized when I came back home and I started to shoot them, and I started to see how accurate it can be, especially if you can put also a little scope on top. You can have, for let's say, for less than $150, a very powerful rifle, even if it's a bolt action. Don't underestimate it, because that's the idea, of course, also the rifle. This is not a carabine. It's a rifle supposed to keep your enemy at distance, at least 500 yards. So it's an incredible deal. If you can find them, because that now, for example, I'm on the website of JG Sales in Prescott, and they're not available anymore. It's so sad, The ammunition, they're affordable, though. I mean, you can still pay almost, let's say, almost half what you would pay for a 308. And
are they out of Moss and Nagant? Is that what you're saying?
They don't have any more Moss and Nagant right now on JG Sales.
There is. You can go to Centerfire. There's still a whole lot of them out there.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can go to some of the pawn shops around people, because they were selling for $80, and you should be able to find a decent one for $150.
Yeah.
Maybe $200.
Yeah.
But they're still quite prevalent.
Exactly. They're still out there.
And we're missing one other rifle that I would take if there's an intermediate cartridge, is an SKS, and I'm a professor on SKSs about which is good and which is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And my advice, if you're looking for one, find the Chinese chrome-lined, put the triangle on it with an arrow in the side, if you're looking for the best, because they were straight off the military racks, and it has to have a threaded barrel. Run away from any SKS that's got a pin barrel.
Okay, interesting. Good tip. I like that. Yeah, I like the SKS solution too a lot, because, many people are on a budget and they want a semi-automatic rifle from intermediate distance, and they don't even want to worry about magazines. I mean, the SKS is reliable. It's really like a donkey. It does the job. And if you practice with the stripper clips, I mean, look at what happened in Vietnam, Don't underestimate an SKS in a trained hand. I mean, it's a great, affordable family rifle, I think, for the working man.
And it's more accurate than the AK-47 if you get the right one. And folks, you can go ahead and get the aftermarket banana rounds and everything else, but my suggestion is to use stripper clips. They're 10 rounds. That weapon was designed for stripper clips.
Yes.
You train yourself with it. You can reload quicker with the stripper clips with a 20 round, not the 10 round. You get the Chinese with the star on it and put that box in there. And when it fires, it locks the bolt open. You go whap, whap.
Yes.
Throw those rounds in. And when you throw the bolt forward, the last stripper clip will flink off to the side and you are ready to rock.
Exactly. No, I think it is very important. Keep it exactly for the way it used to be. I mean, if you want to just have fun, you want to play around with magazine, but the SKS wasn't born for a magazine. And more important, think about it. Even just to remove that magazine and put it on, it's not like you have an AK or an AR-15. So the stripper clips works. But the only
Here's another thing
about
the SKS. On the stock, on the front of them, they have a spike bayonet. That spike bayonet had multiple purposes. One of its main purposes wasn't to stick somebody, but you fold it out and put it straight down towards the ground and stick it in the ground, and it turns into a bipod into the ground. Very functional, and then it's super accurate when in that position.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. That's very good.
Yes.
And no,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, this is good. I'm glad. No, this is good. At least I like this conversation, because we are, try to interact, and more important, try to share this information to people out there. So there is no excuse, guys. Seriously, for me, this hour of the show is to give you every opportunity to try to be prepared, and could be, you leave it to yourself, to your imagination, what could be the scenarios. I mean, right now, we are still not Europe, and we won't become Europe, but we must act. I mean, I'll give you an example. In Italy, there was an older guy that he was robbed many times from gypsy, okay? And he was just robbed a few months ago, and he had to shoot to defend himself in his own house. And the gypsy, they even didn't die. They were just shot and barely, somehow, wounded. Guess what? The guy had to go to jail. and also he was punished by the court system to pay like $150,000 as a fine or whatever, civil lawsuit. And he was condemned because he's supposed not to use that weapon to defend himself and in his own house. So that's where they are. We are here in America. We have this right. Let's use it. And as I said, can be many things. Economy is going sour. Could be many other scenarios that I don't need to repeat you. They're coming for our guns. That's on the open. So at this point, every one of us must decide what you want to do, what you will do. But meanwhile, you got to have a plan and you got to prepare for whatever you want to do in the future. You can just become
and a pistol is so you can get to your rifle, folks. You need a pistol is a backup weapon solely. It is not prime defense weapon. Mm-hmm. And if it does get down to the wire where you have people looting and everything else, you're going to have your pistol on your side just for that. A rifle is your friend, always.
Exactly. You know, and the pistol, normally you fight your way to the rifle with that pistol. That's the only really
I always tell people I have a pistol so I can shoot my way to my trunk to get some, and then we'll really dance.
Exactly. So please use this opportunity. We are here on the air. I'm telling you, if we were doing even just this conversation in Europe, we would be shut down and arrested for I don't know only what, just for the thought. We can talk about this in America. We can share this information with you, and I really appreciate Michael here giving his experience and also his opportunity to tell you how to do things, so you can reach him out. And, you have no excuses. You can buy anything yet still. From $100 Mosin gun to build your AK-47 platform, to get your semi-auto, you can go to bump fire, simulating full auto or full burst or semi-burst, whatever. Get your ammo, get your gun, get your rifle, get your training. That's the most important thing at the end. And more important, get your mindset. Because after all, you can have all the guns you want, but if you're not decided right now, when is the time? Unfortunately, they will force you to take action. You're just buying the weapons to give them to the enemy. There could be the Homo invader or could be the Martians coming from Mars. Doesn't matter. For example, do you remember? I never can forget when I was during Katrina. These guys during Katrina, they were on the news, very big guys, and they were living in a $5 million home. And the news said, "What happened to you?" And the guy said, "Oh yeah, they came to us, the National Guard or whatever they were, the police, and they asked us if we had guns, and yes, we have guns. And then they got our guns. So what?" And they had beautiful rifle. Probably they had, a couple $1,000 at the time rifle. What is the point to have a rifle if all they have to do is say, "Give it to me," like a little kid, "Give me your candies"? I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but start to think when is the time to draw the line in the sand. Otherwise, you're wasting money. Just go to the bar, use the money, get drunk. Seriously. That's my humble opinion.
Folks, what we have is some examples out here of what happened in Nevada. I can firmly state that the Patriot movement responsibly getting in touch with their law enforcement, they feel the same way. They want to clean up their departments just as much as you do for these Barney Fife wannabes. All right? The training cadres that they have come from different areas into Europe. Okay? And some of it's with the same kind of training they train Israeli police forces to the Palestinians. You have to understand that it's not the individual and the police officer as much as their training and their command and control. Get with your local police. Start talking with them. Tell them that you care about your families and stuff. And if you really want to make sure that your community is going to be safe, that's the first step. Because they may be your brothers in arms in case of an emergency.
Very good advice. This is very important. We must find peace officers in our community that we want to show them that we are with them if they are with America, with our republic. And many of them, they're good. I know that they mean well and they remember the oath that they took to defend this Constitution Bill of Rights. So let's look at this point. Don't forget that we must unite together and we need their help. Like we need the help of veterans and we need the help of active duty militaries. They understand that they have to uphold their oath too. But at the same time, anybody else that will abuse the oath, and they become, for example, now we have also foreigners, join the army, that they are not even citizens yet, and we have also people that they don't care about the Constitution. At that point, we give them a chance, and we will try everything to show them that they are the lawbreakers. Now, I want to give you 30 seconds to remind your information, how they can contact you, and go ahead, Michael, please.
Okay, I want to thank you folks for listening to my humble words. And how you can get in contact with me, I also own a news agency called the Voice of Idaho, TVOI News. And if there is anyone out there, I've got all this wasted talent sitting here, and I sure could utilize maybe some income. But I have some talents and some advice and some information that you may find valuable. So you can contact me also at tvoimgun@gmail.com, and I'll go ahead and give you my phone number out there as well, and you can leave a message, or I may pick up the phone at 208-473-1450, and I want to thank you all for your time.
Thank you, guys, and don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna, and we go now into the final hour. It's going to be all about love and also something more. Okay, guys, I forgot to tell you, if you want to support the show, the show is not free. At least, I need to eat 3 times a day, and I really appreciate your help. To keep it independent, all I need is your help. You can go to my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. You can find a section to download any of my songs, music, and also we got sponsors. For example, you can go to confederategifts.us. You can buy incredible Confederate gifts, or you can get any of my songs for just 99 cents. Please, I need your help. Thank you very much. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on United States.fm network.
Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit FreedomLovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. FreedomLovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
There we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States of the FM network. Final hour, the hour about love. Normally during this hour, I like to talk about everything. We from serenades to, recipes. Just try to enjoy life a little bit. Of course, we have romantic moments. But at the end of the day, the most important part, I really believe why I created this hour, because I wanted to try to find each other. We are busy during the day in our life, in a mission. Normally if you listen to the show, you're not just the average listener. This is not entertainment. This is real life. We understand what's going on, or at least part of it, because we never understand everything. We are learning, is the process. By the end of the day, we are committed. You may follow different causes. You may follow the GMO, or the health, or the global government, tyranny, freedom, individual rights. It's all connected. We all somehow fighting for the same reason. Now, at the end of the day, though, we realize that after all, it would be nice to find, a friend, a partner, or maybe the love of your life, who knows, somebody that you can relate to, somebody that you can share what you're doing, and you don't need to explain yourself, and you don't need to convince that person, and you can feel comfortable. That's the most important thing. So I really enjoy the idea that when I created this part of the show, was an opportunity for like-minded people to find each other. So much that I also created a website. It's the first completely free community about, people who are looking for love or friendship or just networking, and it is called freedomlovers.us. I remind you the website, www.freedomlovers.us. So that's pretty much the idea of this hour, among the many topics that we talk. So today I have with me a great guy. He's an activist. He's somebody that has his own YouTube channel, and he does a great job. He tried to warn the rest of humanity, the rest of the world, and of course the rest of Arizona, because also he's from Arizona too, the dangers and the reality that we are facing as human beings under this sky polluted by design by these planes that I don't know exactly who is behind. I can tell you governments, I can tell you private business, I don't know. But the point is they are modifying the weather. And to do that, they, spread and share is not the right word, but you get the idea, all these disperse, all these chemicals. And you want to call them chemtrails, fine. You want to call them weather modification, fine, whatever. But the point, we breathe this garbage. And he's really committed, this guy, in trying to share this information on his YouTube channel. And he does also many other things. But the bottom line is also he's a human being, and he's a guy, and he's a good-looking guy, and there's a lot of skills, and I think a lot of personality. And, and I think he would like to maybe meet somebody, or at least would like to introduce himself to you guys, ladies. I think he's a straight guy, I'm almost sure. I don't want to assume, but I will ask him. So let's see exactly who is this mysterious caller that is going to propose himself as probably the single in the Freedom Lovers section. Are you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Chris, right? Chris, can I give you the last name, or we stop with the first name? It's up to you.
Absolutely. I'm quite public.
Chris-Haskell, perfect. So, Chris, where are you from right now? Where exactly are you located right now?
Tucson, Arizona.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about you. Before, I don't want to assume you're a guy, and are you a straight guy? Let's start with that. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to be curious, because in these days, maybe say, no, I'm not a straight guy. I have a lot of ladies that introduce themselves, and they are not looking for a boy, looking for a girl. So where are you? Are you a straight guy, or you're not?
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, good. So we're about straight here. Very good. Now, the point is you're looking for, first of all, before even you look, let's say who you are, because, you're an interesting guy. What do you do in Tucson, Arizona, mostly?
Yeah, well, exactly. Here's the selling point. What I am is probably the number one activist for Tucson, Arizona, when it comes to anything that, in my opinion, is important, like the chemtrails taking over my life.
Yeah.
But what I do is I decided, I took it on as my job to just inform, let's say, 1 million people. No problem. That's the only goal I set. And I went ahead and I did. I've done it in so many ways. My YouTube channel to me is small. It's nothing. What I really do is I am the sign event. I put signs up all across Tucson in crazy places. I put them everywhere, from one end of the town to the far end of the town. I spend over 20 hours a week volunteering my time.
Wow.
And I've done insane things. I put up wild signs. I drive my big van. I pull out huge display things and leave them in crazy places. A lot of people have seen
Chris, please, before we go ahead, people listening to the show and they understand chemtrails, weather modification, they already know. But, briefly, my goal is always to try to reach out to the new people that they may be open to learn and listen. Let's remind briefly, because what's going on in the skies, whenever we see all these crisscross activities, out of control airplanes, tell us exactly, in your words, what is exactly going on in our skies, according to your experience and knowledge?
Well, I'll tell you, Luke, I didn't plan to be this thing take over my whole life. But when you realize that what's really going on, and people, these insane psychopaths basically are putting completely toxic poison substances in particulates, in nanoparticles, whole dimensions smaller than a human hair. Okay, we're talking small, and they put them in the air, and it's killing everyone. Okay, they can say whatever it is, the reason, but they won't even deny it. They won't admit it that they're doing. So we're being sprayed, and I've seen the tests. I've done my own. High amounts of aluminum, barium, strontium. It's in our water. It's in our food. It's in our air. Yeah. It needs to get stopped, in my opinion, immediately. And when I learned about this in 2007. I started that time. I went crazy because I'll tell you what happened. My mom died, and she died of hardening of the lungs.
Wow!
And we understood she had been smoking for a long time, so that's why the rest of my family was, oh, okay, that's fine. She just died, up and died. Yeah, and it's hardening lungs. Well, they said there's two kinds, but this one kind they wasn't sure. They don't know where it comes from, and they said we know for sure it'll kill you. About 2 years, and almost to the day, it killed my mom in 2 years.
Wow!
And that's when I started researching. I started looking up. And I go, you know what? I've been watching that for a while. What the hell is going on? Excuse my language. And
I can say something. Chris, before I forget, I want to say something to the listeners. People may think this is a bunch of crazy talk. Let me tell you one thing. About 5 years ago or so, in Moave County, me and another friend of mine, Aldi Chico, we started a sort of a test, or the blood test. Did you watch our video about, my video that I produced about the blood test, the barium in our blood?
Yes.
So, the point is, whatever comes out from the sky, it comes back on us, and we're going to breathe it. And that's only thing we know. Barium and aluminum, that they were two things that we are very aware, according to the official governments, and also private corporation documents that they spray along with silver iodide to modify the weather. And all this information, it's out there in public. There are Senate documents, there are, EPA, different type of water reclamation documents from the federal government, so much that in the state of Arizona website, the official state of Arizona website, any one of us can download for just $100, get an application from the website to have a permit to operate weather modification in Arizona. Are you familiar with the document?
Yeah? No, not that one.
I need to send it to you. It's directly from the state of Arizona website, okay? And it's an official page that you can download, and there is the application for $100, you can apply for a permit to modify the weather. So imagine what type of, liability, what type of, after all, to modify the weather, you need to have chemicals to, seed these clouds. And, this is done at such a high level now around the world that this is saturating our skies. So regardless, people, I really hope everybody can have an open mind. But this is not the purpose of this hour. This is the purpose of introduce you as a person, as also as an activist, the things that you like to do in life and you decided to do for your commitment to in your life. But at the same time, try to find somebody like-minded, like you, that probably would like you as a person and also would share the same type of goals. Now, before we go, let's go in more personal, normal things. How old are you?
I'm an old fart now. I'm going to be 48.
How old?
48.
Oh, 38. Oh, you're still a young guy. Come on.
No, 48.
Oh, 48. 48. Still, okay.
I was born in 1965.
65. Okay, I'm 98. I'm from 68, 1968. So I'm almost your generation. We are the same age.
You're just a young one.
Yeah, for a couple of years, maybe 1 year. I'm glad I'm getting there. But the point, anyway, you're still, a man, okay? You're not a baby, but you're not an older guy still. You're still young, at least. Now, exactly what do you like to do besides, being an activist and, try to bring awareness about the weather modification in your community? What do you do in your regular day? Do you work?
I do. I do quite a bit. And I'll tell you, I it's fun. I even work for the city, but they don't know even my name because I'm through a contractor, through a contractor.
Okay.
But besides that, I work I work on my own. I'm by myself. I run my own business, and which is my other friend's used to be his business. And basically, I do a lot of things. I like to ride. I'll tell you what I love doing is going to Mount Lemmon. We have a cabin at the top of Mount Lemmon, and I spend a lot of time there, at least every weekend. And that's where I want to end up living the rest of my life, is up on Mount Lemmon. And I tell you what, I'm very active, and it's terrible when you're thinking about you're looking for people. I'll tell you what, you meet someone and then you tell them, I'm beyond an activist. I do say, like, if I'm going with someone and then I go, I'm going to stop here for a minute, and I go pull out a ladder and I go climb up, put a sign 20 feet up in the air on the telephone pole, because that's where I put them. Over 15 feet is my minimum.
Okay.
And then I don't even think about it, and I throw the ladder back in there like, you think it's fine to eat? It's not easy to find women, because they're like, this guy is insane.
Okay.
He is crazy.
Now, what is your
I
ideal...
get to talk to people?
Chris, what is your ideal woman?
I tell you, I do a lot of things, camping, hunting, and I like women that like to do things, that is active. And, I'm very active. Matter of fact, I think I'm 19. I just, all this time I've been told I was 19,
so you're looking for a woman that likes the outdoors. I mean, that she's pretty much like you. She likes to be out there. You don't want a potato couch, right? I mean, couch potato. You don't want a couch potato.
Exactly. Thank you, because I've dated, and then I meet these crazy women, and then they get psychopath, and they just love me to, oh my God, and I have to, wow. So it's like one extreme or the other. Okay. I was thinking, when I saw your website, I already knew I knew you quite well. I've been watching you, and you've probably seen my stuff. And I said, well, hell yeah, he's going to do this thing. I'm going to sign up, man.
Okay.
Because honestly, I was not ready to run an ad. So,
okay.
You know what? I got a lot to offer, and I'm ready to go to Mount Lemmon. But I take care of my father too, so I feed him every night. Okay. And that's my main goal. Other than work, doesn't even override that. Question,
so Chris. Are you ever been married before?
No, I have not. Because I haven't found the right woman, and I want to get married one time.
So you're single.
My parents.
Do you have any children out there? Here. Any children from other relationship?
Yes, I have one daughter.
Okay. So, but she's already grown up. I mean, how old is she, if I can ask?
Yep. She's 27.
Say again?
And, So
she's already out. So you're by yourself, pretty much. You have no other commitment to any other woman. So you're independent. Very good. Now.
Yeah, correct. Because I wouldn't cheat on a woman.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I've done that a long time ago, and I've been paid back for it. I'd never do that again.
So you live in Tucson, you're a single guy, you're 48, you're really much into activism to expose weather modification, you're looking for a woman who would like to be active with you, enjoying the outdoors, and of course enjoying also the countryside of Arizona. And, I'm not trying to sound like, Dr. Laura, stuff like that. I mean, or some sort of a romantic. What is your zodiac sign? What is your zodiacal sign? I'm just curious,
Well, I'm Sagittarius.
Sagittarius?
And I've never really got too deep into that, but they usually have me pegged pretty well.
Okay.
When they talk about Sagittarius.
Okay, and now, just to be a little more, we talk about the practical, or at least the activities part of your other's part, your woman. Now, let's talk a little bit about the spiritual part, Are you religious? You any type of beliefs? What type of woman would you like to have? I mean, somebody shows up, say, I am, I don't know, LDS.
Good question.
Or whatever.
I love spiritual. I am a spiritual person. I have never been into religion.
Okay.
Never in my life. And I'm very spiritual. I understand who God is. So, but basically, I've met a lot of special women that are really, into the natural stuff. And, I could go either way. That part of it. I eat GMO free. This is a hard battle, because I'm a cook. So I have to cook for my dad every day, and I try, but,
okay.
I'm not perfect.
Let me focus 1 second on this religious part. Spiritual, I understand, but do you have any type of superior being that you believe? For example, I believe in Christ, okay? Do you believe? I don't believe in churches, but I believe in Christ. People may say, I believe in Buddha, or I believe, or whatever. What do you believe? You believe in somebody?
Well, all that is all that is all that is. And that is God. It's what most people call God, and,
okay.
and I understand God very well.
Okay, I'm just curious to see, I see at least people know. Let's say you have a beautiful girl, okay? Chris, let's say you have a beautiful girl that she likes all these outdoors, and she likes the activism about the cause. She understands the situation as global government and the weather modification, all the stuff. But, she say, I am, my religion is, I don't know, I'm making an example, okay? I'm not trying to pick on any religion. I am, I'm a Baptist, or I am LDS, I don't know. And Sunday, you gotta come with me to church. What would you do?
Well, I have no problems with it.
Okay, good.
I got a whole story, though, about that. It'd kill too much time.
Okay.
Not because I've never been in a church.
Okay, I wanted just to see if you have an open mind, at least to accommodate in case she has that type of needs.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Now, let's go to we went to the spiritual part. Now, let's go to the physical part, okay? And I don't want to sound like materialistic, but after all, we're still made of flesh and bones. And I'm sure, I don't want to sound hypocritical, but, everybody has their personal taste, Some people like blonde, some people like black, some people like, I don't know, red, I don't know. Maybe everything is beautiful, but
I got you.
If you write it down, a special list for Christmas, okay, for Santa, please bring me a beautiful girl that she's smart, she's spiritually evolved, and also she has these physical characteristics. Give me the physical characteristic of this special lady.
Yes, I'm glad you asked that, because I would call it a problem that I've got inside me, but I like women that are not overweight. That are in good shape. I'm wearing the same jeans by 2 sizes. Okay, so I was at 29s is what I wore in high school. I'm wearing 31s now. So I can't see why I would get big and fat, and I have a real trouble in my mind dating women that are large.
Okay, so you want somebody that physical fit.
I like someone that can think, at least semi, at least physical,
yeah, fit.
And
what's about food? Are you concerned about what you eat, or you just garbage disposal?
Absolutely.
You eat everything. I mean, you understand the food, the GMO, and all the different things that may be like in the water, like fluoride, or the hormones. And I mean, do you care about what you eat, right? You're not just the typical guy. Okay, good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feed my dad, so I mean, I'm trying to. He's having a hard time switching over to all GMO-free food. But I take special care to make sure I'm buying all organic, and I cook pies. I get all natural stuff. I get pies.
Sounds great. I mean,
I got the apple trees. Up at Mount Lemon, we have apple trees.
Wow.
And I take hundreds of pounds. I give them away to all these people. When I come down, all these apples, because I couldn't help but not pick them, because they're all going to fall down onto the ground.
Question, Chris. You live in Tucson, in the town, or outside Tucson, in the countryside? Where do you live?
Yeah, no, I live in Tucson with my father. I live in the house I was born and raised in, at right here, Broadway and Wilmot type area, middle of town. And, it is nowadays, I'd say. But we also have the place on Mount Lemon, so I go back and forth to Mount Lemon.
Okay.
And it's hard to find a woman that likes to go up in the forest.
All right. Interesting. So listen, ladies out there, wherever you are, this is an interesting guy for sure, and I would like to invite you to check him out. I will post a photo also on lovegunsfreedom.com. We have the section about love that is exactly, you will see there is the heart, the love section. Click on that, and you will see his photo, and it goes directly to his email. So you can click him an email, or even better, go to lovegunsfreedom.com, to freedomlovers.us. That's the website. that you can find also the link at the bottom of the radio show website, freedomlovers.us. And if you browse a little bit, I'm sure you can also find our friend Chris from Tucson. Now, I want to give you the last 1 minute. You can say whatever you want. Also, if you want to promote your YouTube channel, whatever you want to say to the special person that may be listening, and if she wants to contact you. Go ahead. Oh, Chris.
I'm a little shy. I tell you, I don't know why I haven't met the woman of my dreams yet, but because I can do a lot of stuff, and I like to have a good time. And yeah, I definitely wanted to plug my YouTube channel. It's Haskell Films, and that's one word. That's HASKELL FILMZ. A Z on the end because some other famous director has HaskellFilms.com, and that's not mine. Mine's with the Z, the YouTube channel. But I want to say I hope I find a woman that God, I don't ask for a lot, and I give a lot. And I want someone that can go back and forth to Mount Lemmon. That's the thing. And I don't know why I'm in love with Mountain. It's so beautiful up there.
Wow.
Our place is like right in the best valley. You've got mountains, and then there's a lot of special people up there. And I film. That's what I do. Is I'm a director and a filmmaker. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I got like 6 jobs.
Very good.
I've done Access Tucson TV channel for musicians. So to promote musicians in Tucson.
Very good. Listen, I think it's great. Listen, I really, I pray for you for the best, and please, also spread around the free website. I would like to remind everybody it's free for you guys, but this is an act of love. I'm paying for it, and it's really free. I mean, you see, you didn't have to put even the credit card. 100% free. freedomlovers.us, yeah. The first dating site and network site, and not just for dating. Even if you already are committed, you have a friend or a boyfriend or married, you can find friends. You can find like-minded people. Also to do business. There is also a section in the free classifieds. There is also a section for blogs. You can post your blogs. And there is also a section for videos. For example, Chris, I wish you can upload some of your YouTube videos on freedomlovers.us and start to spread your work with other people like that. Yeah, do that, please. You can. Once you log in on freedomlovers.us to your account, you will go to the section of videos. You can upload any YouTube there. It's completely free. You can create a blog under your name, completely free. There are also chat rooms, free. I mean, was my act of love. My idea was to create a dream, like a community for like-minded people where we can find each other, become friends, help each other, maybe find love, and also do business, and more important, educating each other, because we all can learn from each other. That is the purpose of www.freedomlovers.us. Now, I want to dedicate one of my songs to you and to that special person that maybe is listening to this show right now. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna. This is the hour about love, and I have a beautiful romantic song that I wrote, and I hope it can help you out to create the atmosphere to maybe contact Chris-Haskell from Tucson. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna.
Close your eyes. Now's the time to start again, you and me. Afraid, just let it go. Can you feel my love? I'm your man. Hope and illusions fade away, but our love will remain in this life and the other. Eight brightening days in front of us. Don't be afraid of our past, because this time we have each other. We have each other. it's not the end. I feel he's there in the dark. He waits for us and our love. Hope and illusions fade away, but our love will remain in this life and the other. Any bright new days in front of us. Don't be afraid of our past, because this time we have each other. Just hold my hand. It's a bright new day. It's not the end.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Here we go, guys. This is Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. Now, as I said, I like to hear from you. I like to hear your feedback, questions, anything goes. Sometimes, I may know the answer. Sometimes I do. So, doesn't matter. The beautiful thing, we'll find out. So, I have a nice lady that also, I know the sister that I met in Las Vegas years ago when I used to be around. Used to be a group, the Wake Up America Foundation, an anti-illegal aliens group. And, anyway, to short story, the world is very small. And today, I also finally spoke with the sister of Mrs. Laura. Now, we have a question because this lady is moving to Florida, and she's from Alabama, I understand, and she has some questions about probably training or something like that. I have no idea, really. Let's find out. Let's see, first of all, if she's there. 1 second only. Here we go. Jennifer, are you there?
I'm here.
Nice to meet you, Jennifer. Finally, we speak in person. We exchange some Facebook messages and emails. And I know you have a question for me. You are right now in Alabama, but for what I understand, you're going to Florida. So you had some questions. Let's see if I can help you out. And maybe if I can answer to you, I can answer also to the listeners.
Okay. Well, I'm going from Alabama to South Florida, and I was just concerned being in Broward County in South Florida and the crime rate going on. And yes, I could do physical taking care of myself or taking some mace or something, or the crime rate and things that down there, and then the crime coming up from South Florida up to the Florida, and like,
So you're moving, you're going on a vacation, or you're going there to relocate? What exactly your goal?
No, I'm going down there for an internship.
Internship. So it's going to be for a while, maybe for a few months?
It's about 3 to 4 months.
Okay. Listen, I'm not from Florida. I am from Arizona. I could give you more details, but what I would suggest is this, the best way I would do, because, besides going on classes and personal physical self-defense training, it would take a long time, or at least longer time. What I would suggest is to start to go to the state of Florida. There is a website, probably the Department of Justice, or the Department for Safety, like we have here, the DPS in Arizona. I'll find out for you. That you can see, first of all, the gun laws. That's the first thing I would do. If I were you, I would completely see, first of all, if they have, you as a resident from your state, in case Alabama, you can, first of all, carry a gun legally, with or without permit.
Okay.
Because that would be the first thing I would like to see. For example, we have here in Arizona our website for the state, the DPS, the Department of Public Safety. They gave us all the details, all the different laws, how we can carry or we cannot carry. And, for example, here it's pretty simple. We have a constitutional carry in Arizona. That means you can carry concealed without permit. And also, of course, we have open carry. Florida, I am not sure. I can't give you any type of real details. But what I can tell you, if you can go to the Florida website of their equivalent of the Department of Public Safety, they can probably you can find out all this information. Once you find out that you, as a resident of another state, how you can carry, probably I'm just thinking and guessing, probably through a CCW. I'll figure it out, because probably your state of Alabama, of course, now is, when you're moving exactly, in a few days, how long do you need? How long do you have?
2 days. I'm going down in 2 days.
So it's going to be fast. You don't have time to apply for any type of CCW in Alabama and then find out if you can be reciprocated. So you have to, what I would do now, I would go straight to the website of the state of Florida, and maybe I can help you out. As I find the link, I'll send it to you. And then I will start to maybe call them and say, I'm a resident of the state of Alabama, but I'll be here for a few months. What are the laws? Can I carry? Do I need to get a permit? Or can I have a gun on me without permit? Or can I have a gun in the car? Because, for example, some states, even if you don't have a concealed permit, in some states, if you keep your gun in your car, it's considered like your home. Okay? So every state has a different situation. You need to figure it out exactly. That would be the most important thing, because honestly, you cannot just out of the blue in a few days become a martial artist, even with the basic. If I would suggest you one of the most simple and efficient martial arts out there, it's called Krav Maga. Krav Maga, it's a very simple, instinctive Israeli system of self-defense that is like almost a mix of different martial arts. Maybe if you have a chance, what I would do is to have some sort of a recreational moment. In 3 months, if you can find a gym where you're going to Florida, and maybe there are gyms out there, because normally Florida you have a lot of people in fitness, find a gym that they do like a Krav Maga, because that would be my favorite, most probably simple and efficient form of martial arts that you could learn very fast. In 3 months, you could, if you train in a constant way, you could become very proficient with Krav Maga. And meanwhile, you can figure it out, the gun laws for the state of Florida. That's what I would do.
See.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So listen, and
Thank you.
What exactly your expertise? What you do in Florida, if I can ask you?
Well, right now I'm going to do writing a health and wellness manual, massage therapy, health and wellness, and now after your little education, I will be pursuing self-defense.
Okay. Question.
Thank you.
Do you have already a handgun in Alabama that you normally train?
No, I have never had a handgun. I've never shot a gun.
Okay.
Except for a black powder gun back in the day in the field.
Okay, the black powder
and
is
there was
fun,
no
but
recoil.
Yeah.
So
No, you need a defensive gun. You need a defensive gun, and you need some training. What I would suggest you, there are a lot of opportunities now. Normally, I like also to share places that normally I go out. For example, it is one of the best places that I like to buy guns now. It's Sportsman's Guide. I don't know if you're familiar. What I like, Sportsman Guide, I'll send you the link. You can buy a gun there, and they send it to your local FFL dealer. And the beautiful thing, you can make payments in 4 different months with no interest. So let's say the prices are really good, so you don't even pay the sale tax. It's outside the state of Alabama. You can pick the gun, and they ship it to your local FFL dealer. And at that point, you can, for example, make 4 different payments in 4 different months. So let's say you can find incredible guns. There is a gun, it was a deal for $250. It's a clone of a CZ75, and you can pay like for $40 a month, you can get your gun. That's something to consider. But I always suggest you to get, when you get your gun, try to get also somebody can help you out with training.
Well, this is strange. I just wanted to get a really good gun for me. I don't know anything about them, but I want to stop someone, even if I have to shoot them in the knee. You know what I mean?
Normally you don't shoot the people in the knees because honestly, I'm not going to try to give you now the crash course, but the idea when you use the deadly force, the handgun is considered a deadly force. You use it to stop a threat, but you're not going to justify that if you're shooting somebody into the knees. The knees normally is something that maybe you're not that afraid. When you're going to do, if you have to, unfortunately, if you have to face the reality that you shoot somebody, that means that you have no other way to survive by shooting that person and stop him. And the most, most instructors, they will tell you that the first place where you want to try to stop, because remember, we're not trying to kill anybody. All we're trying to do is try to stop a threat. We try to save a life, but at the same time, it's our life. So to stop the bastard, in this case, the threat, the place where you want to aim is the center mass. Because first of all, the knee or the legs, it's a smaller place, and you may even miss it under the stress without much training. But more important, you wear all the organs that you can stop that assailant. It is exactly in the center mass of your thoracic cavity. That's the place.
Right.
So that's the idea. I would suggest there is on Sportsman Guide right now. There are 2 different options. Okay. If you want to go into the semi-automatic, that I tell you can definitely, I would go there, especially 9mm. You can find now there is a super deal. It's a very incredible deal. This gun, it's a clone of a CZ75. It's called EAA, okay? And I will put a link out again, okay? It's exactly a clone of a CZ75. Anyway, it's a semi-automatic gun that works great. It's seriously beautiful and works great. I shot it myself for $237.49 with 4 payments, 4 payments of $59 each one. And I talked about that in the past. It's still there in 9mm. And the beautiful thing about this one that it's with a little bit of practice, you have the high capacity of a semi-automatic, and the 9mm is a great round. There's not much recoil. It's very affordable, and you can, get some training, and that would be honestly a great gun for self-defense, also for your home or for your car. That's depends also on the size of your hand, I must tell you, because this is a full-size gun. I don't know your hand. How big is your hand? Medium size?
I'm about 5'7".
Okay. Remember, another good thing you should do, though, when you go to Florida, they have a lot of good stores, there. Walk into a gun store and, for example, start to look at several guns. What I would look for you, probably, for a lady, I would look at a Glock 19, 9mm.
Right.
And try to feel it on your hand to see how it feels. And make the difference between the Glock 19 and the Glock 17. The Glock 17 is comparable to this, gun that I just told you, like a full-size gun, the EAA. The exact model is called EAASAR B6P. But anyway, I'll put it out on the website, and I'll send you the link right now on Facebook, okay?
Well, God love you. Thank you so much for sitting there and chit-chatting with me about that.
Perfect. Listen, thank you very much, and keep me posted, okay? And say hi to your sister.
See.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Gracias.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Here we go, guys. That was a nice lady from Alabama. I know the sister. In the past, it's funny because time passed and, we find each other now through this Facebook. Anyway, I'm here to answer. I'm not an expert in everything, but I try to learn everything. And even if I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know it, and I'll tell you how to find it. So if you want to, in the future or whenever you want to call, this show normally it is not live. It's produced and recorded, but send me an email at zanna.us or go to lovegunsfreedom.com. You can find my email, and I'll call you, and you can ask me anything you want, okay? So don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna. Here we go, guys. This is the final part of the final hour. Today's, this week's show, Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna. This is the hour about love, and normally I would like to share with you a recipe or maybe a serenade. But I tell you, I'm kind of disgusted with the status quo of our political system. We've been sold out by both parties, of course. Both parties are controlled by the same masters. And when I see, for example, we go from a banner, or boner, as I call him, that piece of trash, completely paid off puppet, Republican what? Republican doesn't make any difference. It was pretty much like water boy for Obama, okay? And we go to Paul Ryan, that is the new boner with maybe, a little younger. And we see, and I look at the national debt, and I look at this budget. Budget of what? This is a travesty. I mean, how is possible that every year we are more in debt, more billions, to a point now we're almost to $19 trillion. Think about it. And this is, I would like to reconnect this love for who's coming after us. Think about it, how immoral what we're doing as a society. We are spending the money that we don't have. And we are putting in debt, we're putting in bondage the new generation that is not even born. I mean, right now, the debt for each citizen is at least over $58,000 each one. For each taxpayer, more than $155,000. Think about it. I mean, this is unsustainable. You realize after when we reach over after 20 trillions, there is a magic number. I mean, I'm not an economist, okay, but even a little child understand that this is completely cannot be paid off. Cannot. Just the interest. I really hope, all of you guys, I don't care who you are, stop for a moment thinking about me that you may not like what sometimes I say. Let's just look at the facts, okay? If you're a Democrat, liberal, whatever, socialist, for a moment, they are putting us in bondage. They are putting us like slaves, okay? And, if you believe that government, the function of government is to keep spending, to give and redistribute wealth, at least let's agree on one thing, at least one. Why should we go every time we need $1 for, running this government or for whatever program you think we need to have? Why we need to go to a private bank called the Federal Reserve that we know very well that system is completely diabolical. Every dollar they print or create out of thin air, they don't print anymore, it's digital, it's the dollars of debt. We need to pay back with the interest. Why not the Treasury just print its own money, like before 1913? At least let's start to unite in that situation as Americans. But when we understand that every type of, program they create, every type of illegal war that they're creating, that means more debt, we're going to be completely in complete bondage. And we're going to live and die just to pay back this debt, and it's going to be completely impossible to repay. And if we want to really think about, at least let's do it for somebody else. Let's do it for who's coming after us. I really beg you, seriously. I mean, if this is something for me, I can't sleep at night thinking about how I see in front of my eyes the destruction of this country that I really dreamt so much when I was in Italy to come here, and I see now dissolve in front of my eyes. It's like the last days of Rome. Rome, what happened at the end of the empire? They start to pretty much completely spend, and there were no more way to repay the debt, and they had to give out lands. And of course the land was given away, and then you start to have the barbarians, and everything was gone. I don't want an empire. I want Rome. I want America as a republic, like you're supposed to be at the beginning. Another thing, seriously guys, if you were seriously, generally complaining and, exposing Bush for illegal wars like Afghanistan and, Iraq, we know there was no weapon of mass destruction, and the only weapons of mass destruction that were the one that unfortunately were given in the 80s to Saddam to fight Iran. We know that. At least people should know. There was no connection with 9/11. It was a fraud. Congress not even declared that. And many of you liberals were somehow exposing that. You were exposing the Patriot Act. Guess what? Where are you now? Where are you now? I mean, now we are in Syria. Not only we went to Libya and we started to kill people like, just because Hillary says so, Veni Vidi, and we kill him. How sad is that? First we prop him up, and now we want to bring him down. But more important, what business do we have to be in Syria? What business do we have? Because what? You don't like Assad, that you like it just, for example, a couple of years ago, former Senator Kerry used to have dinner with him and his wife, and now he's decided that he must go because it doesn't belong anymore to the New World Order plans that they have. I mean, we're talking about now sending soldiers. Like this, all this started like Vietnam, when they started there originally, just some observers or just some, special forces to train, no active duty. Guess what? Not even one person should be there. We are arming, we are giving billions of dollars for this illegal war, training people. And not even Congress is being involved. Where is Congress? Why is no screaming? Only Congress should declare war according to the Constitution. We are at a point now that there is a little king out there, and today is King Obama, the Democrat. Tomorrow can be the puppet from the Republicans. Doesn't make any difference. If we don't start to stand up together and stop, pandering to your party, it's time to scream no matter which party is in control. We should stand up united as Americans. Because these wars not only are immoral, illegal, unconstitutional, but also they are completely created to destroy us. There is no way we can somehow pay back all this debt. It's going to be impossible. This is part of the plan. Don't you see it? The plan to destroy America from within. We're going to be so broke, morally bankrupt, and also economically, that we're not going to have any more a country. And this is so sad. I mean, seriously, guys, if we're talking about love, this is the hour about love. Let's stop for a moment to play these games. Let's unite as Americans. And let's start to expose together the enemies. We need to find solutions. Next Sunday, I will have probably a guest that, he has some creative solution. Because as much as I love the idea of a republic with the Constitution, of course, and I believe in the Constitution, I took an oath, but also this fourth form of representative government is way gone. Remember, John Adams said that the Constitution can work only if moral people going to be there. If you got a bunch of corrupted bastards, doesn't matter. This Constitution is just a book then. So we got to find, at least have a conversation. I don't know exactly where this gentleman, my new guest next week is going to bring, but we need to find solutions because unfortunately we don't have any more republic. This is now an oligarchy. A government of few people that they do not represent anymore with the people, but they represent with the corporations or with the special interests, and of course the real insiders, the real elite behind the scenes, the international bankers, that they are the planners for this new global government. That's what we are. Remember, every time there is a war, no matter when, since the time of the Napoleon and the British, the Rothschild, they were financing both sides of the wars. And look at Vietnam. They were financing both sides. These bankers, they were financing through Russia and China. They were financing Vietnam. At the same time, they were financing America. And of course, this war was never supposed to be won. And so will be Syria. And all these conflicts, they're going to call them, of this, with enemy without a face. Today, they call them ISIS. Yesterday, they were calling Al-Qaeda. It's all being propped and created. Please, Americans, wake up. I beg you. I really beg you. From the bottom of my heart. Okay? Let's stand up. Let's start to scream together. And let's expose these bastards. Now, I would like to remind you, if you want to support the show, I need your help. Please go to one of my website. You can go, for example, to Zanna, ZANNA, art.com. You can find my music, you can find my art, you can find what I do, and just even download one of my songs for 99 cents. You make me able to be here on the air and create this show and dedicate my time in this one. Thank you very much. God's willing, I will talk to you next Sunday. You've been listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna.
Wake up, America, before it's too late. They're trying to make you fade away. They're trying to kill your faith. Every day you're invaded, your soil desecrated. Politicians turn their back. You're under attack. You're under attack. They're trying to erase your borders. The UN wants to give you orders. They're trying to sell your pride. It's time to wake up. Now it's time to fight.